knockout, that's how I flow. Unleashing the fury like an untamed beast, locked in a cage where strength is released. Striking precision, grappling with my golden octagon. The stage we ignite. Unleashing the fury like an untamed beast, locked in a cage where strength is released. Striking precision, grappling like a golden octagon. The stage we ignite.
And we are live. Welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast with your hosts, Matt and D Rose.
And what's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast. My name is Matt. D Rose is on that cyber screen. We appreciate you for stopping by and hanging out with us right over here on the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast tonight. If you guys don't mind, do us a favor and hit that thumbs up button because we got a lot of fun stuff to get into. We're going to recap this past weekend's UFC Baku. That was not a fun card, but a few topics to talk about. But from that, D Rose got to eat some beans again this week. I did give you an out too, D Rose. I was like, you know what? Let's like not do the clean sweep thing. Let's just do one fight and 2 beans it is. You're like, no, we got to do 3 fights, 3 beans for clean sweep, and you get clean swept, man. So 3 beans for D Rose tonight. And then with a terrible taste in his mouth, we will go over the UFC news and fight announcements, D Rose. Some big news. John Jones has officially retired, but some other stuff came out too, and just kind of been a mess for Mr. Johnny Bones, or he labeled himself Johnny Meat, I guess. Anyway, and then with that being said, we will close out the show with our UFC 317 Ilia Topuria versus Charles Do Bronx Oliveria, our preview, our picks, and our predictions for this weekend's UFC pay-per-view. And then we'll close it out with the quote-unquote fisting of the week. Not an easy one to pick this week, D Rose. They've been cashing. Nazim Sadikov was our fisting of the week this past week. A little sketchy there, but hey, he ends up cashing as the fisting.
He almost got fisted.
He almost got fisted, but he does the fisting. So shout out the Black Wolf Nazim Sadikov. But before we get into all that, what's going on, man? Let the people know how you've been over the past week or so, my guy.
Yeah, no, things have been great over here. Can't complain too much. I had a decent weekend betting wise. As I told you, I've been using underdog the last few weeks, and I've been coming up a little bit on my account on there. So I've been having a pretty decent couple of weeks. So hoping to take some of that momentum and roll into this weekend. I'm excited for the card, man, coming up. I've been getting a little bit more excited as the day's been coming, but that main card, a lot of bangers on there. The prelims, they got some really good fights on there too, and I'm really excited for the fights coming up. So big weekend coming up, and I'm excited.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. You're excited. I know the chat's excited. So let's get into the chat. We got Lushlow Mania here. Another Golden Wednesdays with the boys. What's going on, Lush? Appreciate you stopping by. We got Austin in here. What's going on, Austin? We got Antoine. Yo, what's up, boys? Watching y'all while I watch the NBA draft. I watched the first few picks, and then I'm like, I don't know who any of these guys are. I don't know why I'm watching this.
I just made sure the Mavs got Cooper Flag, and honestly, I didn't even watch. I figured they would just get them. I was just waiting for the alert on my phone, and but no interest in watching it.
Yeah, Dave's been sweating, working in attics. I'm sorry, Dave. Hopefully, you're at least making some cheddar, brother. How's y'all's week been so far? Hot. It's really hot here. Not gonna lie, dude. Every time I go outside, I'm like, man, fuck this. And I didn't feel too well. I think like Monday and Tuesday, dude. I don't know if there was like something going around, dude. I was just sitting on the toilet most of the day, man. Not fun. Reese wants me to rip some packs Friday, man. Friday, the new UFC set comes out. I'll be here ripping some packs then. We got Montana Chief. What's going on, brother? We got Acid Rap 710. What's going on, man? How you doing? Antoine, you should both be happy. Matt got Dylan Harper and D Rose got Cooper Flag. You guys got number 1, 2 pick back to back. All right. 2 pay-per-views in June. That's always fire. Yeah. Not too fire for my wallet, but a lot of people don't even pay, man. It's all right. It's like 94 degrees. Sucks right now. It's raining. That's terrible. I have no clue, Antoine. No idea, man. For like 2 days, I just wasn't feeling right, but I'm good now. Used as a also good excuse not to have to go to work because I could just work from home that day. So not the worst in the world. So I ain't too mad at it. But I have to go in that place tomorrow. Anyway, with that being said, let's get into our UFC Baku recap this past weekend. Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree. It ended basically what I expected, what you expected too, right? Khalil Roundtree via decision. I don't know if you picked later knockout or not. I don't really.
I picked like round 4.
Yeah, I mean, still close enough, dude. And after round 2, that's what the fight kind of seemed like. It kind of seemed like the fight was building to a Khalil Roundtree knockout because, dude, I was kind of making fun of it, before the fight about how terrible Jamal Hill was, about how he was probably like the most unskilled champion there's ever been, dude. But my point stands, dude. It's like, does this dude train at all? Like, this dude's training camp has to be going in the gym and hitting pads, dude. There's no way he's running. There's no way he's wrestling. He ain't working on distance management. He ain't working on his footwork, that's for sure. He ain't working on his diet. He's not working on his cardio. He's not working. What is he doing in training camp?
No, that's it's a very valid question. I mean, and honestly, because I even went back to some of his older fights, and I think even like the Thiago Santos fight, like he it's not like he was ever like this chilled up guy, but you can see like he was slender, he was fast.
Mm-hmm.
He was in really good shape then, and I swear I think really ever since that Glover Teixeira title win that he got. He rested on his laurels a little bit. Let's be honest, because I do think that there's just been no progression from him since that point. And to that, Khalil honestly probably could have finished him. And to me, I thought Khalil kind of really took it easy on Jamal Hill there because I think he wanted to make sure that he went the 5 rounds and didn't gas himself. Khalil did keep throwing those right hooks to the body. Those were vicious shots from Khalil that I hadn't seen from him quite yet. But I do think overall that, Jamal Hill is just, he's just taken such a fall because I just don't think he's really done anything since that title win that he's gotten against Glover to really progress any at all.
Oh, yeah. I didn't really care who won, dude. Not really a fan of either one of those fighters, but I just thought Khalil was the more skilled fighter there, and it just proven to be it, man. I guess what do we get next for each of them, man?
Yeah, I mean, I think Khalil, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be too mad. I feel like a fight with Oldberg would be potentially boring to where, I mean, a fight with Yuri could end up, being a little bit of a barn burner there. And I think the winner of that fight could go fight for the title next, win, lose, or draw between Pereira and Magomed. I think, the winner of Alex and Khalil can go fight for that title next. So, I think that would be a banger of a fight. And for Jamal, I mean, it would not be too bad for him at all to kind of do what maybe like a Sean Strickland did and fighting like a Boots Magomedov, not saying that name, but just as far as, maybe taking a guy that's unranked or something like that, because Jamal just needs a win at this point. I mean, I don't want to say Marcin Pragnow or Modestas Bukowskis or somebody like that, but it's like, maybe
He's got to fight somebody chinny, dude. Like, if he wants to win, dude, because he ain't. Dude, name a fighter that he's more skilled than.
Yeah. Well, and especially at the top of the division. I think if he was to fight a guy like a Marcin Praggnio, you know, like I said, you know, maybe
like Johnny Walker again. Like, all right, maybe.
Yeah, Ryan Spann.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, somebody like that, maybe.
Dude, could he go down to middleweight?
Yeah, I mean,
but that's going to involve
him
him actually fucking trying, so probably not. Like, you see how he shows up at light heavyweight. He ain't going down the middleweight.
Yeah, the beer belly that he'd be having outside of camp, like he'd be looking like heavyweight DC. Like, it's kind of crazy.
Oh, Dave would do some dirty stuff for it to be 68 degrees right now. Apparently, we got a couch high guy saying Ryan Spann and Hill would be the fight. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude. Co-main event actually ended up being right on like this fight. But as I said, I was like flipping flopping back and forth all week on this fight, and this actually ended up being in the pick champ for the week. Rafael Fiziev does win via decision, dude. And during that fight, this was my takeaway. I don't know like what you thought, but it was like the fight was taking place at Bahamundez's range, but it was almost like Bahamundez couldn't touch Fiziev, and every time he threw, like, Fiziev would immediately counter and crash and touch him. And throughout the fight, I just thought Fiziev touched Bahamundez a lot more. I don't know if it was actually true or not. That's just what it felt like for me. And maybe just Bahamundez just had trouble finding Fiziev. Like, he kept like leaning back with those, like, you know, fucking matrix dodges. But also Bahamundez, you can't just keep throwing, you know, naked wheel kicks to the head, and then when one lands to the body, you just never throw another one. You just try to throw him to the head again, dude. It's like, dude, throw him to the body again. But Rafael Fiziev does win via decision. What are your thoughts on the fight, man?
Yeah, I think that last point that you made about the fight was really my whole frustration about it. As being someone who was heavy on Ignacio this whole weekend, was that, man, it was like, you know, you kept throwing those naked spinning head kicks against Fiziev. We know Fiziev will play limbo inside the octagon to avoid a headshot. We've seen the multiple highlights. You go back to the Mark Diakase fight, you know, all those fights, he's known for that lean back style. As you said, he landed one spinning back kick to the body, and I'm sitting there watching the fight. I'm like, there you go. Good shot to the body. And proceeds to not throw another one and just keeps throwing the spinning head kick, and Fiziev just watches it go by the wayside. And yeah, I really thought that it was just frustrating for Fiziev, or for Ignacio, because yeah, I did think that he had a tough time finding Fiziev. And I think that, you know, he just kept trying to throw the spinning head kicks because he thought he was going to land a money shot. And yeah, Fiziev just showed that, you know, he might always criticize him for maybe not being top 5, and maybe he's not top 5, but he is still one of the top guys in the division, and he could be any of those guys on any given night, because he looked sharp in there. He looked ready, and yeah, I think someone said maybe a fight between him and Benoit Saint Denis. I mean, I would really like that fight, and I think that's
fun.
To me, yeah, I think that's actually a favorable matchup for Fiziev as well. So I think that's that could be potentially a fun fight as well.
Yeah, man. I agree. I would greatly enjoy that fight. So moving on down, Curtis Blades, Rizvan and Kuniev. First of all, the fight sucked. Not gonna lie. It's like, but at the end, I was like, dude, I don't know. I think Curtis Blades won, but at the same time, like, we're in Baku. Are they going to give Kuniev this like nod here? But Curtis Blades ended up getting the nod via decision. What's your thoughts on the fight? Did you think Curtis Blades won the fight? And yeah, you can just talk about it.
Yeah, this fight wasn't great, so we ain't gonna spend long on it. But no, I thought the fight was boring. But I did think, truthfully, I thought that Curtis Blades did lose. I thought he lost the second and the third round. I thought he won the first round, but yeah, after that, I thought that honestly Kuniev was just really just knuckling him up on the feet. and was stuffing his takedowns for the most part. Well, actually, I think he stuffed most of his takedowns the rest of the fight. Now, we learned after the fight that I believe he said that, what was it, like a blown MCL or ACL or one of, he did something to his knee in the fight. Curtis Blades said that he did. So, I guess we have to take his word for it as to why the performance was kind of lackluster. But yeah, that was definitely a slower fight. I thought he lost, but the fence control there, he was laying the knees to the thighs when, Kuniev, I don't think he really got off too many shots at all in the third round. So I guess I can understand. I just thought the more impactful shots went to Kuniev there in the third round, which should have swayed the judges his way. But yeah, Curtis Blades got by one on the, by the skin of his teeth on that one.
Yeah. Up next, another one that was for the pick champ here. We got Tofik Mustayev taking on Miktabik Orabai, man. This one ruined a bunch of my parlays because I had Miktabik 3-or decision because, from what I have seen and what I have heard from, everyone else that I listen to, this Tofik guy is a dog, comes out tough as all hell, throws power, good takedown defense, and he goes out there and gets submitted with a Kimura about 20 seconds into the fight, man. So I was like, well, there goes all my parlays, man. So Miktabik Orabai, round 1 submission over Tofik Mustayev. Anything here?
Yeah, I just thought that for Miktabik, he
Miktabik.
I think a big reason why you could say he may have had a little bit of an advantage is just maybe the weight miss. I mean, they ended up having to fight. What was it?
Dude,
165?
yeah, so, it was a catch weight. Yeah.
Yeah, it ended up being a catch weight. So Musayev, is cutting weight to 155. And then all of a sudden, they basically tell him, hey, don't worry about it. Stop cutting weight. Now, he still ended up taking the fight and whatnot. But a guy who's known as a heavy grappler and Miktabik, having that weight advantage, I'm sure that would probably help going into the fight. And Dana, I heard one of the reporters ask if Miktabik was worthy of getting a bonus. And Dana was like, oh, yeah, the guy who missed weight, he came over there and told me he was going to be a champ one day. And Dana said he told him, hey, you need to pick a division on which one you want to fight in before you start talking about being a champion. So I thought that was pretty funny and pretty critical because, I mean, it's true. If you can't make the weight at 155, man, you need to, go ahead and make the jump up to 170. But yeah, he's a good fighter, but definitely needs to pick a weight class.
Yeah, indeed, man. Moving on down, the fisting of the week was a round 2 knockout by Nazim Sadikov over Nicholas Mota, dude. And I'll pull up the picture here. Nazim Sadikov, nasty Nas, does get the win, dude. But this ref, man, he had to have had a bet on Nazim Sadikov, dude, because I feel like that fight maybe could have gotten stopped there in the first a few different times with just all the, just Nicholas Mota was just unloading to the body, to the head, and like Nazim Sadikov was just sitting there taking it, man. So I don't know if like the ref, saw something like, he's blocking all these like shots, or if, he was looking out for one of his boys. But Lucas Pazaki here, I feel like could have stopped the fight, but thankfully he didn't, because the next round is why our fisting of the week cashes again. Nazim Sadikov smokes Nicholas Mota, dude. And yeah, dude, I saw that he has a broken jaw after this fight. So shout out Nicholas Mota, tough as all hell, but going to be out for a little bit with a broken jaw, man. What's your thoughts on the fisting of the week, Cash?
Yeah, the fisting of the week ended up, for me right now, ended up turning into the fight of the year. I ended up messaging you after that fight was over. I said, I don't care if it was a round and a half, fight of the year, what a war. Both guys went out there and went for it. And man, when Mota, he roasted Nazim Sadikov there with a body shot in the first round, which ended up getting Sadikov to kind of back up against the fence. Now, but if you look at that sequence when Mota's throwing those punches, he is landing some of them, but most of them, you can see that Sadikov has his guard up and he's shoulder rolling with a lot of those and like blocking them with his arms and stuff like that. So that was one thing that, and I heard Nas say after the fight, like, hey, I saw all of those shots coming. That's why you saw me rolling with them, for the most part. So, he did throw a big flurry, but it looked like he was still there with it. Now, I thought when he went to shoot for the takedown and missed it, I thought there was going to be a chance that he would call it, but as you said, good thing he didn't, because it ended up they still went at it for a long time, crushing one another. But dude, Nazim Sadakov's combos are so clean. It was one where he just goes, it's like body hook, head hook, left cross, and he throws a high kick off the top of it. It was, oh man, it's like such a beautiful sequence, dude. He's such a fun fighter to watch, man. And if he can get that, we know he can get into a war, but to fight at the top of the division, you're not going to be able to last doing that. So if he can refrain from that a little bit and just be a little bit more of that technical wizard that he's shown the potential to be, dude, he's gonna be a problem, man, because he's powerful, fast, and lethal, dude. So fun fight of the year for me, and Nazim Sadikov. I mean, honestly, both guys' stock went up, hence them getting the $100,000 bonus a piece after the fight card, because nobody else got the bonuses except for them two. So I thought that was awesome as well.
Yeah, that's because the rest of the fight pretty much sucked. Like the rest of the card pretty much sucked. But anyway, Muhammad Naimov versus Bogdangrad. This was the last fight for the pick champ. This was originally one of the only two we had different picks on. But yeah, Muhammad Naimov wins that via decision, and I thought it was a pretty easy win. I think after weigh-ins, I was like, oh, Muhammad Naimov's got this. Like, he's the much bigger guy here, and they kind of fight the same way. I have to just go with the bigger guy that I've seen fight in the UFC more times against honestly better people. So Muhammad Naimov does win that via decision. Anything there?
Yeah, okay fight. But yeah, I thought that Grod for me, because I placed like a long shot parlay, and I did play him money line, but yeah, I just thought the most frustrating thing for me, because I thought it was 1-1 going into the third round, and for him to try to go for that back take and end up getting slipped off, and Naimov basically just ended up getting the control and held him for the rest of the round. I'm like, come on, man, what are you doing, Grod? But hey, he's going for it, so can't blame the guy. But yeah, I think that sequence really lost him the fight, in my opinion.
Yeah. Moving on down to the prelims and some other ones that ruined my parlay. Suk Young Ko taking on Obon Elliott. Dude, Suk Young Ko, the Korean Tyson, more like the Korean Khabib, because he just wrestled Obon Elliott all 3 rounds, man. Anything there?
Yeah, he absolutely killed me too, because I was not ready for him to just all of a sudden, like you said, go straight Khabib, Islam, just going for constant takedowns. I mean, Obon Elliott had no answers. And for Obon Elliott to be as big of a favorite as he was, to get washed the way he did, that was,
dude, these big favorites
pretty...
have been losing this year, bad, like over and over, dude.
Yeah, no, and that was a big loss from a big favorite. He was, on some books he was like minus 500, on certain books. So yeah, just absolutely crazy that he got dominated the way he did. And but Ko, that was a good performance for him, because we known him to be kind of like a slugger, kind of like heavy-handed guy. So for him to have that in his back pocket too, goes to show he might be a little bit more talented than what we thought coming in.
I agree. Moving on down, dude. Jung Young Park taking on Ismail Nurdiev, dude. We have to change Jung Young Park's name from the Iron Turtle to the Iron Dog, man. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. Turtle got poked in the eye like 2 separate times. Probably got hit in the nuts a few times as well. But the one that was real rough, was when he got kneed in the head while he's clearly down, dude. And, like, at this point, it's the first round. Like, all this happened in the first round. Like, at some point, I was like, oh, here we go. Jung Young Park, round 1 DQ win. There goes my fucking parlays, because I have them, 3 or decision in a whole bunch of shit, or sub 2-3 in a few things. And here we go, Jung Young Park, round 1 DQ win. But no, dude, Lucas Bozaki takes 2 points in the first round from what's the dude's name? Ismail Nurdiev, dude. I haven't seen that shit, dude. I think since John Jones kneed Anthony Smith, like 2 points like that, dude. And once you're down 2 points, there's pretty much no winning, dude. But shout out the Iron Turtle or the Iron Dog now, because the dog that he is to come back after that, dude, and just dog out Ismail Nerdivev, dude. He had absolutely nothing left in the tank, dude. Iron Turtle just rode him out the rest of the fight, beat him up, dude. Shout out Iron Turtle. I'm glad me and you both picked Turtle to win that fight, man. Anything there?
Yeah, that's because Iron Turtle's that dude, man. I mean, he's he's kind of like, of course, we don't think he's going to be champion, but he just got that gritty, tough style, man. And he's going to be a hard night out for anybody that's going to go up against him. Having a little bit of
We're
a
just
rough time
coughing everywhere, dude.
Yeah, I just cannot help myself tonight. But yeah, no, Jung Young Park, the Iron Turtle, or as you said, the Iron Dog. Man, he got that dog in him, man. For him to keep getting illegally hit, whether it be an eye poke, nut shot, or getting kneed in the head, and for Nerdiev to think the
fight was over.
Yeah, the fight's over. He's jumping on top of the cage, and it's like, dude, you literally hit him with one of the most illegal blows. Like, now I know in one championship, hey, that move might be illegal, but in the UFC, it's not. So yeah, you should have known better at this point. And but no, Iron Turtle, dude's a beast, man, and he's always fun to watch. So again, do we think he's going to be champion? No, but just one of those guys who we see him on an undercard, we're going to be pretty pumped up to see him, man, because he always brings a fun fight.
Yeah, man, the Iron Dog it is from now on, man. So moving on down, we have a two that just started off my night terribly. We have Daira Zelezniakova taking on Melissa Mullins / Melissa Dixon. Dude, this was a rematch. They fought literally like 2 or 3 fights ago, and like Melissa Mullins got a late round 1 ground and pound fucking knockout because Daira can't stop a takedown. So in the fight, Daira comes out throwing heat, dude. Like, I was like, oh shit, come on, Melissa. Don't get knocked out. She ends up grabbing a leg, taking her down with ease, dude. Round 2 comes out, wants to fucking strike again, man. Like, what are we doing here? Like, you just beat this girl via ground and pound a few fights ago. You're going to go out here and play striking games with her the entire fight now, dude? So Melissa Mullins fucked me, probably fucked all of you that bet on her as well, that expected her to wrestle, because she did not. But anytime that she grabbed a leg, dude, Daira just fell down, but she just decided just not to wrestle, man. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a weird fight. I will say I came in like on the back. I came in about second round in this fight, so I thought, from my vantage point, Daria was kind of winning the fight pretty cleanly. So I thought I think it ended up being 29-28. Yeah, I thought that Daria was really just knuckling her up, using good footwork, kind of bouncing in and out and all that stuff. So yeah, she looked solid, but the fight wasn't that great either. And I was at work, so I missed the first 3 fights.
Oh, well, the one right before that, Irina Alekseva versus Claudia Segula, went the exact same way. Irina Alekseva went in there, did not even shoot one takedown the entire fight. Just went in there, chin right up in the air, just throwing how she throws, just getting countered and pieced up, chasing Claudia Segula all around the octagon the whole time. So if you bet Irina Alekseva, she burned you as well. And Azat Maxim, Tagir Ulanbekov was a close fight, dude. I did pick Tagir to win that fight, but when it was over, I thought Azat Maxim maybe won the fight, but Tagir did get the nod there. And the opening fight was Hamdi Abdelwahab versus Muhammad Usman, dude. And
you're Hamdi if you do, you're Hamdi if you don't.
Dude, Usman was getting leg kicked and was reacting like he was getting like rocked in the chin, dude. It's like he was getting leg kicked and his arms was like started fucking flying around, and it's like it's literally like he like lost his equilibrium, dude, when he was getting leg kicked. Like, I've seen memes of it now so much.
I did
And
see
then
one of those highlights in the first round. I did see one of those. Yeah.
But it kept happening, dude. It's like, how do you see that happen and be like, yep, that guy won the fight? I have no clue, dude. I personally thought Hamdy won the fight, but you know, it just is what it is. And also, Hamdy was the bigger guy, so that really threw me off at the weigh-ins, dude. I was like, I'm glad I picked Hamdy to win this fight, because he actually seems like a heavyweight, as where Usman maybe looks like he probably could go down to light heavyweight, but I don't know if that's going to suit him too well, because I think he's just ass.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, like he's a pretty big dude. Like I think him cutting down to 205 might be a little bit of an issue. I know he normally weighs around like 230, 240, 238, 242 range, somewhere around there. But I'm sure a lot of that's walk around weight, and he's pretty jacked for his size. So I would imagine 205 probably wouldn't be the most pleasant weight cut for him.
Yeah. All right, let's get it. Antoine said he was locked in watching the draft. Turtle is tough indeed. I also missed the main event. You guys want next for Khalil Roundtree? I'll just pull this up.
He was the only person shocked, and not only in America, but literally in the world. Like, 'cause everybody in Baku, everybody who watched the fight in Australia, like nobody was shocked. He was the only person on Earth that was shocked at a 50-40 fight.
Dude, that is the classic Manel Cop. What? I lost?
Yes. No. That's the new Manel Cop. That's the new Manel Cop. I'm like, dude, what are you, like? And as I told you after the fight, I was waiting for you to message me after it happened, because I was like, I was going to send it, and I was like, nah, he's definitely going to send it first. I'm going to wait on him to send it to me. And about 15 seconds after I said that, you was like, man, this dude trying to act all shocked. I'm like, man, it's wild, but hilarious nonetheless.
Turtle's record. I mean, Turtle's ceiling. I don't think he's gonna be the champion or anything, but he's a fun fighter. Good test, Antoine. I think Irina might have been injured. Just finally, I think she's just got a terrible fight IQ, because that ain't the first time that's happened now. So, you want to fight? What are you talking about? I gotta say, I don't know how he's still walking after the. Oh yeah, because like Jamal Hill's leg was all beat up.
Dude,
also,
his calf was like literally his right calf was literally double the size of his left calf. Like it was insane.
And that's what I asked D Rose as well. But Antoine, that would require him to be disciplined. And do you see the shape of him at light heavyweight? I mean, if he ain't even going to get in shape at light heavyweight, do you think he has the discipline to go all the way down to middleweight? I don't know.
Man. And he's sneaky kind of older. I didn't realize he's 34. So I didn't even realize he was already 34. So it's not like he's like a 28, 29-year-old that, he still got time. Like, I mean, 205 is the division that older fighters can fight in, because I think once you start going down weight classes against faster guys, that
fuck it, go to heavyweight. Fuck it, Jamal Hill at heavyweight.
I mean, heavyweight is bad right now. So I mean,
dude, he's gonna end up looking like Jamal Pogues. It's gonna be Jamal Hill versus Jamal Pogues, dude.
It's gonna be like Jamal Hill versus Jake Collier, like former or should be middleweights that are fighting at heavyweight now. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, when you look at Khalil and you look at Jamal, it's just like someone actually takes this serious, and some person their training camp is hitting pads a couple times a week. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see him ever I want Hill versus Reyes. Dominic deserves it, dude. That might be a decent fight. You know, one of them's got to win, right?
Another fight that you wouldn't care about the result of.
Yeah, we'll get into the John stuff in just a few minutes. Hill Reyes would be nuts. So, D Rose, I believe that's all the fights on the card. So our different picks this past weekend was Muhammad Naimov versus Bogdangrad, Rafael Fiziev versus Ignacio Bahamundes, and Miktabik Orabai versus Tufik Mustaev. And I picked Muhammad Naimov, Rafael Fiziev, and Miktabik, while you picked Bogdangrad, Ignacio Bahamundes, and Tofik. So not one bean, not two beans, but 3 beans for D Rose. Clean sweep. Let me change the banner for the Eat the Beans. So I apologize if you guys don't like people throwing up. I do recommend that you maybe click off the show for the next 2 or 3 minutes, or if you guys want to laugh at D Rose possibly getting some dog hair flavored beans or stinky socks or dirty dishwater, stick around, because here we go. Let me pull up the sweet music that we live by.
To be fair, this box does have Wet Dog and Booger, my 2 worst, but it does not have dirty dishwater.
Oh man, dude, that's like one of the top worst ones.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, they replaced it with Wet Dog, so it's just as bad. Big bop. And it don't stop. I want it to stop.
3 beans.
Oh gosh. Oh, I'm dead. It's a dead fish. This is bullshit. I don't want to do this. Get the back so I'm ready to spit.
Dead fish, dead fish, dead fish. Nah, he's chewing it. Oh, well, you chewed it so many times for it to be dead fish. What's wrong with you, psychopath? What it tastes like?
Dude, like that.
Describe it to us, D Rose. Pretend you're Keith Lee, brother of Kevin Lee, And, your choices are describing this or getting treated like Kevin Lee. Face first in the octagon.
Do you know how, fish food smells? Like, have you ever had,
a beta fish?
Goldfish, goldfish or anything like that? Like, exactly how it smells, that's how it tastes. If I can give you any description of what it tastes like.
Fish food. All right, bean number 2. Let's see what it is.
Dude, I'm not doing this again. It's the same freaking one. I'm not doing this again. No, we're going back. I'm not doing another dead fish. No way. No
come
way.
On, D Rose.
We need a different one. Oh, come on, baby.
What is that?
Give me it's red. So it's gonna be bandage or pomegranate. Man, I've been pretty lucky to get pomegranate.
Get the fucking Band-Aid, dude.
Get the pomegranate.
The Band-Aid is hands down top 3 worst ones. Rip the Band-Aid off.
Oh!
He's gonna know right away. There's no way you don't know right away. What? Dude, your taste buds are like they move at the speed of smell. Dude, if I bite that shit, I immediately know it's terrible. You have to chew it up. All right.
Dude, my mouth smells sour now. Like
your mouth smells sour?
Like I can smell my breath. And it just smells sour now. Because all this bullshit.
All right. Whatever you say. All right. Look at Dave. Whoa, no redos.
Nope. That dead fish is trying to come back. Nope. We're not doing it.
Look at D-Rose. Look, D-Rose's faking it, says Dave.
Oh my gosh.
3 beads. Which one is this?
Peach or barf?
Hopefully it's barf.
Oh, please give me a peach. I need this. Okay, I've already had 2. Oh!
You have to think he screams. He leans off the camera and screams. D-Rose.
Oh gosh.
I don't know, y'all. that one might have been real.
Oh gosh. Nah.
D-Rose, this is what you look like. This is what you look like. Ah.
Because I'm tired of this. This has been abuse.
You get
All
good
night.
beans all the time. What are you talking about?
Dude. 3? I haven't had 3 yet. I always end up having throw me a curveball at least. Like,
I gave you a way out, and you wanted 3.
no, I'm
Remember
talking
that.
about with the beans. I mean, give me one good draw. But
Well, according to the chat, D-Rose, I don't know if you had any good beans, if you had any bad beans, according to the chat, they're all claiming Beangate. Antoine, I asked you last week, would you eat a whole bag of booger beans for $1,000? Would you do it? You never answered. Yeah, we talked about it for a little bit, but I think it was like
no, I said we had to up the price, not for
Oh, yeah.
1,000. We had to negotiate on that one.
Ain't no way D-Rose just pulled 3 bad beans. This man gets an Emmy. Such a late reaction. He's been chewing way too long. This is a Beangate cover up.
This is crazy. This is crazy. Y'all see these?
Oh,
They're the same.
man.
They're the same thing.
You know,
I think this is where they sit down here. That shell gets a little hard, so you had to get the innards to really taste it. And
redo 3 more.
nah, hell nah. I ain't doing that shit again. Hell no.
All right.
I stopped rhyming for a reason. I couldn't even lock in with the rhymes anymore. Like I rhymed on the first one, and I was like, all right, we're gonna try to keep this up. No, I couldn't even do it because I was just too distraught at that point, and then I got scared.
All right, D-Rose. So let's get into our UFC news and fight announcements. The big one that everyone wants to talk about. It's already been brought up a few times in the chat. John Jones retires. And Saturday night after UFC Baku, Dana White lets us know that John Jones called him last night and retired. Tom Aspinall is now the heavyweight champion of the world, and they're just going to rock with it like that. And this week, a lot of body cam footage has came out of a night back in February, I think, where there was a car wreck and a lady in the passenger seat, and she said that John Jones was driving. And if you think back a few months ago, there was this like random Instagram live of fucking John Jones just walking down the street like at like 2-3 a.m. fucking talking about that he would fucking kill someone. I'm kind of starting to put the pieces together, dude, that was probably the same night. He was probably drunk, escaping or fucking fleeing the scene of the accident, and that's probably what happened. And all this mess, dude, this is probably the reason that John retires, because I think it's probably going to come out pretty soon that he's probably guilty for this, probably going to go to jail, because this has got to be like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 times now with John and Albuquerque and alcohol and a car or guns, dude.
Yeah, it's just been one thing after another, and it was kind of weird how Dana announced his retirement. Was that it was during the press conference, the post-fight press conference for this past weekend's fights, and it was only brought up because a reporter had asked him the question, and it was probably halfway through the press conference when he ended up answering that. So it's not like he came in and was like, hey, Nazim Sadikov and Nicholas Moda get the bonus, and John Jones retired. Like, you would think you would lead off with something like that, but he kind of, buried it. But to me, we had talked about it. To me, it almost kind of seemed like, for me, like I told you, it was them saying that John was retired was the UFC's polite way of saying we can't wait any longer. I do think the UFC is to blame because they've let this go on for so long. Because John has said for a while now that he told the UFC his plans, and he doesn't know why the UFC is holding everything up. And I guess they said that he agreed to it and then he backed out. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But once he backs out at that point, I think you have to just move on with the division, take the belt from John. If he wants to come back, cool. If not, then just take the belt off of him and keep it moving, because the UFC has been so quick to take the belt off of other fighters. Yuri Prochazka, Jamal Hill, when they both ended up getting injured and asked them to vacate. Ilya vacating the move up. Topuria vacating the move up. Guys like that, everybody's having to vacate now to move up. Why was John holding up the division for so long if the UFC already knew his plans? So that was the frustrating part for me, seeing Tom Aspinall on the sideline. And then, as you said, with the stuff with him and the wreck and stuff like that, it's like, for me, I will always acknowledge John's talent, as great of a fighter as he is. But it's why, for me, it's like, my favorite fighter, his biggest fan and all this stuff. It just became exhausting defending him after a while, because it's like, it's just time after time after time. It's literally one thing after another. And you don't know what's going to come next with the guy. And, he's obviously one of the most talented guys. To me, he's still the greatest of all time. I don't really care what happens. But, just as far as everything else goes, he's just been a head case for a little bit now. And, very, some would say a narcissist. I could definitely see that. I just hate to see the path that he's going down.
Yeah. And this actually kind of like makes my point right here, D-Rose. Like, what's your thoughts of Mike Tyson, dude? Everyone loves Mike Tyson, right? But I guess people forgot, like, back in the day, dude, he went to prison for some pretty bad stuff for a few years, man. And everyone just kind of forgets that now. So I don't really think it changes what he did inside the octagon. I still think he's the greatest light heavyweight at all time. You can call him the greatest fighter of all time. I could not disagree with you. But what I think he did at heavyweight was just waste everyone's time, dude. Like, we should have never waited for the fucking Stipe John fight to even happen, because Stipe didn't deserve to be in there in the first place, dude. And then after that shit, now we just have to wait a year and a half for him to just be like, all right, cool, guys, see ya. Like, what the fuck, dude? So heavyweight, fuck that, dude. He just wasted everyone's time. But at light heavyweight, still the best to ever do it. But it just is what it is, man. But the body cam footage from that night, dude, doesn't look great. And then just kind of thinking back to, that random Instagram fucking live that he had just this random night for like 20-30 seconds at like fucking 3 a.m. like out at night, clearly drunk, or like something happened, dude. It's like that was probably that same night. And then you heard the phone call on the body cam fucking footage threatening the cops, dude. It just looks terrible, man. I have to be honest.
Yeah, terrible look. And even when the cops like, so you're threatening me and blah blah blah, and John's like, basically, this wouldn't be the first
like,
time
my brothers kill people for less.
It'd be the second time. It's like, what are you talking? Like, you're literally like snitching on yourself, dude.
But if he was drunk, dude, he probably doesn't even understand he's on the phone with the cop, dude. It's like, dude, fucking John seems like when he gets drunk, it's like to the point where I've never even been before, dude. Because it's like, in my fucking 20s, I would fucking go out like and shit, but I don't ever think that I got like blackout drunk to where I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I still fucking wake up like the next morning and can remember most of what happened. There's probably like a few fucking details that are a little fucking blurry, like and shit like that. But it's like, I haven't ever been like blackout fucking drunk, like, and dude, I've been out and I've spent hundreds of dollars at fucking bars drinking like fucking shots of Bacardi 151 because my fucking Navy buddies thought that was cool, dude. It was gross, but at the end of like fucking of the night, I was able to still fucking find my way home and fucking go to bed, dude. But he seems like a person that maybe just can't handle alcohol, and dude, he just gets blackout drunk and it's like, woo, let's fucking party, dude. I just don't even know, what to fucking think, man. If I ever crash drunk, I'm gonna be like John Jones is driving, right, dude? Pitch
Dude,
black
hell yeah.
drunk. Don't know what's happening, dude. It's wild, dude. Hanging out at Virginia Beach, you'll get real drunk then. But I've
Drunk
always
and high
able.
get high on mushrooms too, because apparently, according to the reports, they said that woman was like coming off of a mushroom
Wow.
trip or something like that too. So yeah.
I also like heard that she didn't have on pants. So I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
Just what, you were distracted. That's why you crashed.
Yes. Doing something shouldn't have been.
Yeah. Somebody get John okay, leaving him out. Jesus Christ, Dave. All right, man. So
Who says he's not? Let's
yeah, right, Dave. Right, Dave. I mean, right, D Rose. Anyway, might get stabbed by a homeless guy be boardwalk. Right, man. It is. D Rose coming down here to your side of the water in a few weeks, Couch High guy. He'll be over there in what are you, Hampton, D Rose?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So,
we'll be over there in Hampton. Have a little Airbnb out there, and we'll be enjoying our beach trip coming up, and actually 2 weeks from today.
All right, hell yeah, dude.
Jamal
Hell
Hill's
yeah.
what? You're going to the beach?
What? You're going to the beach? What? Yeah, man.
Let's go, Jamal.
All right. So let's get into our fight announcements, man. We've got a fun one, man. This is an interesting one, kind of like the main event for UFC Baku. This is kind of one that I'm like, why is this in Shanghai? It is Sergey Pavlovich taking on Salsa Boy Waldo
Shanghai.
Cortez Acosta. Yep, UFC Shanghai, so China, August 23rd. Doesn't say it's the main event or anything like that, so doesn't look like it. But number 4, Sergey Pavlovich versus number 7, Waldo Cortez Acosta, dude. And dude, since what was the last fighter Sergey Pavlovich knocked out, dude? Was it Curtis Blades? I don't think he's knocked out anyone or even hurt anyone since that fucking Curtis Blades fight, man.
Well, he lost a few too.
Yeah, and dude, Waldo is a dude that we know's got a chin. He was eating shots from that fucking giant Cuban fella, the fucking Taekwondo dude, like fucking Skittles, and was like, oh, cool, I'm gonna just take you down. So I don't know if fucking Pavlovich is able to hurt fucking Waldo here, man. So he could win via decision just by lasting 3 rounds, landing the harder shots. But dude, depending on odds here, I might take a shot at fucking Waldo if he's like a plus 200 or so, because Waldo via decision is going to be like plus 500 again, man.
Yeah, I think potentially a fight that could turn over, maybe a fresh contender coming up at heavyweight, and I really think that's what heavyweight needs right now.
China.
And if I'm, yeah, dude, Shanghai. I'm like, Shanghai. Like, why is this fight in Shanghai? But yeah, no, I do think that this fight. I'll be honest. I'm already going to pick, Waldo Cortez Acosta. I think, as you said, Sergey Pavlovich hasn't been able to really hurt anybody here lately. I think in his last win against Rosenstrike, he was able to use his wrestling a little bit more. We haven't really seen Waldo Cortez Acosta outside of Sergey Spivak in his last fight. He was able to stuff the takedowns pretty well in that fight, but he was getting taken down a little bit as well. I think Pavlovich can mix it up a little bit more. But man, I think Waldo Cortez Acosta got what it takes to get it done in that fight. So yeah, that could be a good fight.
Yeah, man. I am in agreement with you, man. So moving on to our next ones, let's see what we got. Yeah, we just now talked about the John Jones situation. His exact words was John Jones doesn't plan on fighting Tom Aspinall. He's not in the position to excite me. I've replayed the story many times. John Jones tells the Nelk boys. Yeah. Anyway, here we go. Another fun one, dude. We've got Imavov versus Caio Bahayo. Looks like it's in the works. I'm sure we have a fight night if we scroll up a little bit more. But what's your thoughts on this one, man? Number one contender fight?
Well, I believe from what I saw that fight card's going to be in they're going to main event fight card in Paris. And
Okay, I can see that.
They're going to be out in Paris and they're going to be the main event. So I mean that's a that's a big moment, and man, it's an interesting fight. I mean, I know a lot of people are super excited on Caio Bahayo and just immediately go ahead and put him up
called it
there
at the beginning of the year. Like I was like, he's gonna be your fucking sneaky, my like long shot pick by the end of the year to be the champion at middleweight if it's not Hamzat.
Yeah,
And dude, he's right there.
and no, he's definitely got a chance here. But man, Imavov's been impressive, and you know I've battered Imavov in a lot of his fights. I really have, and I mean and he's looked more and more impressive as he goes, and he's gotten better with each fight. And getting a knockout over a guy like Izzy, I would say his confidence is at an all-time high right now. So, to me, that rightful winner of that fight fights for the title next, and yeah, that's good ass fight.
Yeah, man, I'm excited for that one. We have this. Is this the rightful fight to make? It doesn't look like anything's made yet, or announced or anything like that, but possibly UFC 320 or 319. This makes sense, yeah, because I think Gon is the only person that Tom hasn't fought, right?
Yeah, anybody that really matters at heavyweight, I think that's the only guy he hasn't fought yet. That's why I kind of think Waldo Cortez Acosta. That's why I think Cortez Acosta is a good matchup for Pavlovich, because if he wins, then he can maybe fight for the title next. Just continually getting fresh contenders in there. So, and Gon technically won his last fight, but let's be honest, he didn't win that fight against Volkov, and nobody thought he won that fight. But as far as those three judges, or two of the three judges that was there ringside, they thought that Gon won. So I think that's enough for him to potentially get a title fight. Just keep Aspinall going. You know what I mean? Yeah, just keep him going, keep him active. And yeah, I think that could be a potentially a good fight, and Gon could maybe give him some potential problems to where he might not get out of there as early as Aspinall's been able to get everybody else.
Yeah, man, because if you just think about it, Tom's beat Marcin Tybura, Volkov, Sergey Spivak, Curtis Blades, Sergey Pavlovich. Like, that's everyone at the top of the heavyweight division not named Cyril Gane, dude. Because, I mean, if I can start fucking going down, dude, Tai Tuivasa is on like a 6-fight losing streak, and he's fucking still in the like top 10, 15 somehow, dude.
Yeah, no, exactly. So that's why, even though you could give Volkov maybe like that Jose Aldo type title shot at bantamweight, when even though he lost his fight, he gets a title shot, but we've already seen him fight Tom, and he got his doors blown off as well.
Yeah, man, and some absolute heater fight news. Dana White came on Instagram Live, I believe it was last night, and announced this right here. Diego Lopez versus Gene Silva will be probably going to be the main event for UFC Noche, correct? That's going to be September 13th in San Antonio, Texas. And yeah, I might have to head out there for that one. I've been to the past 2 Noche years in Vegas, so this one's going to be in San Antonio. Fan of it not being in Mexico, which means that I don't have to, fly out of the country and all that. So yeah, I might end up here again this year. What's your thoughts on this banger of a fight, D-Rose?
Yeah, it's a hell of a fight, and I think for Diego Lopez, the guy who just got a title shot, for him to actually fight this low in the rankings, I think that, it just says, credit to him for being one of those guys who, any guy, anytime, anywhere, he'll fight anybody. And for Joan Silva, I love saying Joan Silva. I love saying that name. I don't know why, but it rolls off the tongue. But yeah, him, surgeon contender. He looked like an absolute savage against Bryce Mitchell in his last fight. The potential is so high for him. He's so dangerous in so many ways. And yeah, I think that Diego Lopez is definitely going to be the best competition he's faced so far in the UFC, and it should be a good fight.
Yeah, man, I agree. And I believe the last one that I have that I know of is this one right here. Breaking news: Kevin Holland versus Daniel D-Rod Rodriguez in the works for UFC 318. That is the one in Louisiana, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so the Dustin Poirier card. It says it's at welterweight, but neither one of these guys like to cut weight, so it's probably going to be about 175.
Well, no, remember a couple years ago when they were matched up against one another before Hamzat ruined that whole entire card? They were actually matched up against each other at 170. And then once Hamzat had the whole blunder of missing weight, that's when they basically told Kevin Holland, hey, stop cutting weight. Yeah. And then that's when D-Rod ended up cutting down to 170 and he fought Leach. So yeah, I mean, I think Kevin Holland, he seems to be a little bit more serious as far as wanting to try to see where he could take this thing at 170. So if he can just stay locked in, man, I think, staying at 170, as you said, will probably be his best path towards having the most success, title shot or not. I think it's just his path to the most success. D-Rod's a good fighter, but I think Kevin Holland has got I think he's a more well-rounded fighter between the two, the quicker of the two. To me, I think Kevin Holland's probably going to be a pretty big favorite going into that fight.
Dude, who knows, dude?
I think Kevin Holland's going to be at least somewhere minus 200 in some range.
Have you been on?
I was going to ask you about this.
Have you been on social media this week and saw the Liver King like calling out Joe Rogan like nonstop, saying he's gonna fucking fight him? Then the psychopath flies to Texas, is in a hotel room, like fucking speaking all kinds of nonsense. Then gets arrested out of the hotel room. And then went back on his Instagram today, dude. So he's out of jail, still calling out Joe Rogan to fucking fight him. It's like, hey, you fucking idiot. That's not how it works. So if I just want to be like, Liver King, I call you out to a fight, now you have to fight me? Like, that's not how it fucking works, dude. Like, this guy is
why is he even trying to fight Joe Rogan?
I don't know, dude. He's fucking losing it. One of his fucking pupils are huge and the other one's real small, dude. Like, hopefully they fucking check on his fucking family, dude, because it seems like I don't want to go too far, dude, but when fucking people start acting like this, they got a fucking family and shit, dude. It's fucking real fucking tricky, So I don't want to say anything bad's gonna happen, but man, they need to watch this fucking fella.
Yeah, that's crazy. I saw it earlier and I was going to send it to you, but I figured.
Dude, it's been going on for like a week now.
Yeah, that's so weird, and trying to challenge Joe Rogan out of all people, and Joe Rogan will probably end up kicking his ass to begin with. So yeah, it's not like you're not asking somebody like myself to a fight, or somebody like that. Yeah, I'm going to try.
Dude, do you know how tall this guy is? He's like 5'4", dude.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. But I know
you could treat him like your daughter, man. You could just fucking Spartan kick him in the chest, and he's gonna fly.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Joe Rogan would kick this guy's ass. He'd break his arm. He'd kick his head off. Yeah, I don't know what like you said, that dude must be losing his mind.
That's fucking nuts, dude. I have no clue, dude. This guy. Hopefully he gets some help. And then lastly, dude, our guy, dude, SD, the Reaper, the Hood Wolf, man. He was going to be fighting this weekend, dude. As crazy as it sounds, what did he get locked up about 2 months ago, bonded out, which immediately I would think you're on some, like, if you're on bond and you've already been arrested, 15, 16 times, they're going to put an ankle monitor on you. So when this fight was announced, I was immediately like, dude, is he going to fight with the ankle monitor on or what? And it came out like literally earlier today that the fight between him and whoever he was fighting, he's still on the card though, has been called off because Cedric West Dumas cannot get in front of a judge to get his ankle monitor off before this week. So he cannot fly to Vegas, man.
It almost seems like at this point, I think the UFC is just trying to like give him fights just so he can fight out his contract, just so they can let him go. But I don't know. To me, it's like just cut the guy. Like, I mean, I don't know. There's
dude.
No
it was almost like
really
he like fucking called him up. Was like, "Yo, I need to pay this fucking bail money. Give me a fight."
Yeah, like something like that. Like, dude, I don't know. And it's like he clearly doesn't have his stuff together. And like you said, he's been arrested. I think they said 14 or 15 times. 14 or 15 times within the same district. So that's not even saying anywhere else he's been arrested at. 15 times within the same district he's been arrested at. So yeah, this dude, he's just, could he kick my ass? Sure, whatever. But this guy's an idiot and wasting time, man. Just wasting everybody's
Don't count
time
yourself
here,
out, man. Don't count yourself out because this dude clearly ain't fucking training. He's fucking spending time in a fucking jail cell.
Yeah, well, no, I say that to say like, yeah, he's just, Cedric Dumas just wasting our time here, man. I mean, UFC, if he is not fighting in the UFC anymore, will anybody notice? Like, I mean, does a bear shit in the woods? Like, I mean, if a tree fell in the forest, would you hear it? Like, I mean, like, dude, if he's never fought in the UFC again, who would care? Nobody. So
No.
just cut him and keep him moving.
No. Antoine, I personally thought like the UFC was just kind of hopping on, let's fucking sign this dude that looks cool. Because on the Contender Series, I was like, this dude's not good. And then in the UFC, like he was like wrestling Cody Brundage all fucking 3 rounds. I was like, man, fuck this boring ass guy. This dude's ass. And proven to be he's just ass. Outside the cage and inside of the cage.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You said it better than you said it better than I could have said it.
Yeah, dude, it just is what it is, man. So we got Ilya posing with the 2 championships ready for this weekend, dude. Well, that is all of the fight announcements that we have. You have anything we didn't talk about, man?
No, that's pretty much everything that I had.
All right, so let's get into the fun part of the show. Well, I'm pretty sure most of you, if not all of you, are here for our UFC 317 Ilya Topuria versus Charles Oliveira, our preview and our picks and our predictions. If we have any bets, we'll throw them at you as well. So before we get started with this, if you guys don't mind, hit that thumbs up button for your boys, and we will go ahead and get into it. Let me share my screen, and we'll get to breaking it down. Don't need my volume for this one, though. So here we go. This weekend, we have UFC 317 Topuria versus Oliveira taking place. Prelims are going to start at 6:30 p.m. East Coast time on Saturday, June 28th. That's this Saturday at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. We have 12 fights to break down for this International Fight Week card. It is headlined by a fight for the vacant light heavyweight championship of the world between the Matador, Ilya Topuria, and Charles "Du Bronx" Oliveira. In our co-main event, we have another championship fight for the flyweight championship between Alessandre the Cannibal Pantoja taking on Kai Don't Blink Kara-France. The featured fight of the night is Brandon Raw Dog Royval taking on the fearless Josh Van. We also have Benny D, Benil Dariush taking on Hanato Money Moicano. We have everyone's favorite prospect that lost his last fight, Peyton Talbot, taking on Felipe Lima. And Peyton Talbot is the dog this week, D-Rose. just crazy to see. We have the Joker, Jack Hermanson, taking on Hobo Cop, Gregory Rodriguez. We have Hurricane Hyder Emil taking on Jose Delgado. That's going to be fight of the night right there, man. That's going to be an absolute banger. Probably look something like Nazim Sadykhov versus Nicholas Mota. Somebody's going down in that one. We got Viviane Araujo taking on Tracy Cortez. We have T-Rex, Terrence McKinney taking on Slava Claus. Vyacheslav Barshov, another barn burner. Somebody's going down in that one as well. We have Nico Price taking on Jacoby Smith. Dude, Jacoby Smith's like a minus 3,000 favorite right now, and we'll talk about why. We have Jonata Denise taking on Alvin Hines. That was a late notice replacement, I believe, because he was going to fight Justin Tafa. And then Cedric Dumas was going to be fighting Jackson McVee. He is now out, and now he's going to be fighting Christopher Ewart. So two dudes never fought in the UFC, going to be fighting on International Fight Week, opening up the main card. So shout out to those guys. Some fights that did fall off the card were Paulo Costa, Roman Kapilov. No surprise, really. Brandon Royval, Manel Kopp, but Brandon Royval still on here fighting Josh Van. Janon Janiz versus Justin Tafa. Janiz is still on here, and Dumas versus McVee was on here. And McVee is on here. McVee, whatever it is. So, thoughts on the card as a whole, D-Rose, before we get started breaking it down, man?
Yeah, no, it's a fun card, man. And, like I said earlier, I'm excited for it. I think there's a couple good matchups there on the undercard as well. Some of those early prelims are a little tough, but as you said, like the Hyder Emil, Jose Delgado, Jose Delgado's been the guy that I've been excited for. Yeah, Jose Delgado's been a guy that I've been excited for since coming on to the Contender Series. Hyder Emil obviously is a guy who, delivers banger fight in, fight out. So, yeah, plenty of fights on here that I'm excited about, man. I'll say B plus, man. I say okay. I'll say because I'm going up and down it now. I'm going up and down on Tapology. I'll say because some of those early fights are kind of like you said, Jackson McVeigh and Christopher Ewart. You're opening up the prelims, but that's what's opening up the prelims on International Fight Week. So you get some knocks for it, but yeah, B plus overall, man. I'm really excited for the card this weekend.
Yeah, man. Looks like Antoine missed our news. How did you guys feel about Diego versus Gene Silva? I'm excited for that one. I'll probably end up going to Noche this year, and I would go Diego Lopez. That's me off the jump, but I'm more of a fan. I'm biased. I don't know how Silva looks going 5 rounds. Dave wants to see it, D-Rose. I don't know if it's available, but
yeah, it's not, and it's snooty now, so I don't even get a chance to see it like I used to anymore.
Oh man, and then Tracy is bad. Yeah, I was kind of thinking about doing some funny jokes coming on here, like and being like, yeah, time for the fight news and announcements, and then just fucking pulling up the fucking Tracy Cortez Instagram page, but she didn't have that many good ones at the top, and I didn't want to scroll down too far and look like a complete fucking weirdo. So I'm like, never mind. It is what it is. All right, so let's get into to this card this weekend. We got Jackson McVee taking on Christopher Ewart. The Moose, Jackson McVee, is 6-0, while Christopher Ewart is 7-0. Odds for the fight are currently minus 155 for Christopher Ewart, and Jackson McVee's plus 130. Over under is 1.5 here. The over 1.5 is plus 100. The under 1.5 is minus 130. Jackson McVee is 26 years old, 6'4", and a 77-inch reach, while Christopher Ewart is 31 years old, 6 foot, and we ain't got a reach. But from Chile, Santiago, Chile, if he fights anything like Ignacio Bahamondes, should be a fun fighter. And what I've seen from Jackson McVee, I was going to pick him to beat Cedric Dumas, but that's just because Dumas is ass. But if I'm going to be honest, this guy, Jackson McVee, just kind of gets hit quite a bit, dude. And I have done absolutely no research on El Tanky. But if I find out that he does fight like the other fighters from Chile, I'm for sure picking him to win. So I'm just going to go ahead and go with Christopher Ewart to win. And just because McVee gets hit a lot, let's pick him to win by round 2 knockout. But I'm going to be honest, done zero research on this fighter. A little bit on McVee, but none on Ewart. But I don't really like what I see from McVee. So just my pick with doing no research. What's your thoughts on this one, man?
Yeah, very limited research. I mean, just a quick YouTube highlight reel for both guys here. You know, just kind of getting ready for both of them. And for me, it looks like McVay is the guy who he's an okay striker, but it seems like he's going to have his advantages getting the fight down to the ground. He fights in the clinch well as well. You know, it looked like Ewert kind of. He likes to keep the fight on the feet, but he can go to the ground if needed. You know, he's good on top position from what I've seen, you know, but he's got pretty good hands overall from what I've seen. You know, he's probably going to be the better striker of the two. But yeah, as you said, you know, the Chilean fighters are good fighters, but if there's one thing I do know about the Chilean fighters, a lot of them have bad takedown defense. And if
That's the Peruvian fighters. So they got the worst takedown defense.
They do. But yeah, Chilean fighters are right behind them with the takedown defense and everything. So I think Jackson McVay is going to look to get the fight down to the ground, do a little bit of clinch fighting. I'm going to take Jackson McVay by decision.
All right, we are split on the first fight of the night, and hopefully that does not get included in the pick champ. How do you feel about that?
Well, I am the you know, I am.
I mean, do you feel great about this fight though? This one gets included in the pick champ.
Hey, I do get to decide it, so let's see how these picks go, and we'll see.
I mean, like, you know what? I ain't going to complain because you've been making proper picks over this past few weeks, dude. You know what? Go ahead and throw this one in there. Whatever you want to do, man, you've been doing a great job at it. Just keep it up.
Hey, you never know. You never know. Watch that be the one to pull it off for me, too.
Me and D-Rose split on the first fight of the night. Jackson McVay, Chris Ewert. I'm on Chris Ewert. D-Rose is on Jackson McVay. Moving on to the next one. We have Alvin Hines taking on Janata Janice. Oh, man. Fun fight here just because Janata Janice is a fun kickboxer for the most part. So Janata Janice is 8-1 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, 4 wins, 1 loss. He did lose to Marcin Tybura, but did defeat Carl Williams via decision and also knocked out Austin Lane in the second round. He came from the Contender Series. Janata Janice is 34 years old, 6'4" and a 79-inch reach, while Alvin Hines, Goozy, is 7-0 coming out off of LFA. It seems to be like a, how do I say it? Kind of fights like Andreas Gustafsson, but dude, he just gets fucking hit so much, and he doesn't really look to get to the fight to the ground. He's just kind of a big guy, man. So I don't know. 33 years old, 6'2" and a 74-inch reach. So he's going to be at a height disadvantage and a 5-inch reach disadvantage, dude. I don't think Goozy is able to stand 3 rounds and not get knocked out here. So I'm going to go to Janata Janice round 2 knockout over Mr. Goozy, Alvin Hines. Odds for the fight, though, are -325 Janata Janice, and Alvin Hines is +260. Over-under is 1.5, and it's -115 apiece. Which way are you going here, D-Rose?
Yeah, I think, you know, for me, from what I've seen from Alvin Hines is, you know, he's
Goozy.
He's an okay striker. he can throw head kicks for a heavyweight. I will give him credit for that. You know, I've seen from his highlights, he throws some pretty decent head kicks, but I think
how's his head movement?
Yeah, no, the head movement is not there at all. He's willing to go in there for a scrap, but if you're going to go in there with a guy like Johnson Janice, who's you know, who I would consider a kind of like a sniper, he's not necessarily the best sharpshooter, but in terms of heavyweight, yeah, he's a pretty sharp striker. Good at setting up angles. I think you could very well see this fight similarly play out to how it did with Austin Lane. Austin Lane got a takedown early and kind of gave Johnson Janice a little bit of problem there early in the fight. Mm-hmm. But gassed out real quick, and Johnson Janice was able to get the finish in the second round. I'm going to go Johnson Janice second round KO.
All right, just like the pick king over here for the most part. We got, hey man, kind of off topic. Would you rather buy $800 worth of Chrome UFC Mega or one royalty cake? Well, a royalty case is going to be a lot more than $800. I'll tell you that. A box might be around 800, but that's only going to be 8-9 cards, man. I really don't think you should buy that. But going for the mega as well, like, if I'm going to be honest, you should probably go for 800 of the Chrome Hobby when it comes out. That would be my best guess. But if you're leaning more toward the mega, then I would go to the mega, because you're going to get a lot more cards than just one royalty box. That's a lot of money for just one box. And if it ends up like mine, you're not going to be happy with it. All right. Me and D-Rose on Janata Janice round 2 knockout. Moving on, we have the hybrid Nico Price taking on Jacoby Smith. The hybrid Nico Price is 16-8 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, he has 2 wins, 3 losses. Win over Cowboy Oliveira damn near 4 years ago. Lost to Phil Rowe via knockout 2.5 years ago. Got snoozed by Robbie Lawler in his retirement fight 2 years ago. Beat Alex Morono in one of the worst fights I've ever watched. They both looked terrible. And then lost to Thema Garimbo via decision 8 months ago, dude. Got wrestle fucked by Thema Garimbo. Thema looked like Khabib in there against Nico Price, dude. Nico Price is, oddly enough, he's only 35, man. He is 6 foot in a 76-inch reach, but in fight years, he's about 85, dude. Jacoby Smith is 10-0, undefeated. Out of his last 5, he is knocked out Preston Parsons 5 months ago, and he came off the Contender Series with a ground and pound knockout 8 months ago. He is 29 years old, 5'10", and a 72-inch reach. Currently, odds for the fight are minus 2,100 for Jacoby Smith and plus 1,100 for Nico Price. Over-under is 1.5 here. The over is plus 185. The under is minus 245. D-Rose, Nico Price going to come in here wrapped up, fucking knee pads on, ankle pads on, elbow pads on, fucking helmet, bubble wrap. Anything holding Nico Price together, dude, it's just going to look terrible. And if you've seen the fight with Jacoby Smith on the Contender Series, how relentless and the tactics he'll use to get the fight to the ground makes me really worry for Nico Price. How he's going to pay for all these kids when he's wrapped up in the hospital for the next 6 months nursing a fucking knee injury, dude. So for me, it's Jacoby Smith, probably round 1 knockout, just because it's Nico Price at this point, dude. Have you seen his takedown on the Contender Series?
I remember him fighting in the Contender Series. I can't remember his specific fight. I keep going back in my head to the Preston Parsons knockout that he had, and that was just absolutely brutal. For me, I just think that, I'm not even going to waste time on this. Nico Price, very chinny guy, as you said, war-torn, very war-torn at this point in time. Jacoby Smith, young gun, power in his hands, can wrestle, get the fight down to the ground. If Nico Price got wrestled by Thema Garimba, I think Jacoby Smith could do the same. Plus, he's got brutal ground and pound. I think Jacoby Smith round 1K is the way to go. And let's just get this out the way now. This will be our fisting of the week.
You think so?
Yeah. There's nothing on here that's not even. And we did it for Malcolm Willmaker too, because he was a giant favorite. But we both predicted round 1 KO. So yeah, this is going to be the only fight that I think we're in agreement on to have at least a round 1 KO. So yeah, this should definitely be the fisting of the week.
All right, fair enough. I will not disagree with you. Me and D-Rose both on Jacoby Smith, round 1 knockout. So moving on to the next one, we've got a fun one. T-Rex, Terrence McKinney taking on Slava Claus, Vyacheslav Barshov. T-Rex 16-7 overall out of his last 5 fights, 3 wins, 2 losses. Loss over Nazim Sadikov almost 2 years ago. A win over Mike Breeden a year and 10 months ago. A win over Brandon Moretti, whoever that is, a year and 8 months ago. Lost to Esteban Ribovics a year and a month ago, and then did beat Damir Hadzovic, thank goodness, 4 months ago, because he's probably got the worst takedown defense in all of the UFC. He notoriously has that funny-ass clip with Renato Moicano that's like Renato Moicano's like, man, I wanted to fight more. And then he was like, well, why did you submit me? And then like Renato Moicano was like, that's fair. So Tamir Hadzimich just has awful takedown defense. Anyway, T-Rex, 30 years old, 5'10", 73-inch reach, while Slava Claus, Mr. Barshev, knocked out Mahashate 2 years ago, went to a majority decision draw with Nazim Sadikov. So I think that fight may have done something to Slava Claus, D-Rose, because that was a fucking war, man. And just seeing what Nazim's fucking doing to these fools, man. I don't know. He did lose to Chase Hooper via Darce choke after he got the shit beat out of him. Then he did go on to beat James Yantat via split decision. Not the best look, to be honest. And then 4 months ago, he did lose to Tom Nolan via decision. Slava Claus is 33 years old, 5'11", and 69-inch reach. Odds for the fight are currently T-Rex minus 170, Slava Claus is plus 142. Over unders 1.5 here. The over is plus 175. The under is minus 230. Well, I'm gonna take the under, D-Rose.
Fair.
It's a T-Rex fight, man. We gotta take the under. My thing here is if T-Rex wrestles, he wins this fight. If he tries to go out here and have a kickboxing fight with Slava Claus, I do think Slava Claus is the much more cleaner technical striker here, and I think it's going to go very bad for Terrence McKinney. But I'm going to go out here and think that T-Rex has a game plan. He's going to go out here, take down Slava Claus, and we see round one ground and pound for T-Rex. Which way are you going, man?
Yeah, I mean, I think for this fight, for me, Terrence McKinney is a guy who comes out super explosive. He's a good striker. Got good 1-2s. Obviously, go back to that Matt Favola fight where he knocked him out with literally the first 1-2 that he threw in the fight. Super explosive. He's got good wrestling. He's got some submissions in his back pocket as well. As I got a moth flying across my face over here. It's like, what the hell? I was like, yo, what is going on here? So Terrence McKinney, he's got a lot of different skills. His cardio has always been his biggest knocking point for him. And for Borshev, sometimes he can tend to get a little bit tired in the fight, but he does kind of run off that reserve sometimes as well. But if a guy is going to wrestle him on the fence, sometimes he's not as or even if he's on his back, like sometimes he doesn't have the most sense of urgency to get up. He's more or less kind of, trying to make sure he stays safe, doesn't get caught in a submission or anything like that, which on one hand can be good. And I do think on one hand it's a bad thing because you're going to be losing a lot of time. If you go back to that Chase Hooper fight, he did get technically submitted, but the ref did stop that fight early. So he technically didn't get submitted. Now, Chase Hooper was hurting him.
It was kind of late. He just stopped it a lot. Like he dropped him, then elbowed him to hell for a few minutes. And then you're like, you're not going to stop this? I guess I'll wrap up the sub then. Because, dude, that shit could have stopped a few times.
Yeah, but I say that to say that Borshev, like the dude's not a quitter. Like you can do whatever, and as you go back to that Nazim Sadikov fight, it went to a draw because he got 10-8'd in that first round and came back and won the last 2 rounds against Nazim Sadikov, and turned out to be one of the fight of the years in that time as well. So I mean, for me, honestly, I just think that if Borshev doesn't get submitted, Terrence McKinney's shown to have been chinny before in the past as well. I think money on Slava Claus as the dog, I think that's the way to go, in my opinion. I think round 3 KO. I think you're going to try to see a Terrence McKinney who tries to come out, keep it more reserved in the first round.
Dude, if he does that, he fucking lost. We've seen that before. That don't work.
Yeah, no, exactly. So that's what I think happens. I think he tries to get Borshev down to the ground because Borshev's the cleaner boxer, nasty body shots. Terrence McKinney has been clipped before, with one big shot. So it's not like it hasn't happened before. And Borshev, if there's something that Borshev could do, Borshev can crack. So
yeah, man.
I 100% think that Borshev's got a shot here. I'm going round 3 KO for Borshev.
Damn. So you would take the over on this fight?
I'm probably going to take this fight to start round 2. I'm not going to lie.
All right. I mean, it's a T-Rex fight, so I'm going under, man. It just what it is. Okay. Are y'all's Shanghai's co-main event is Brian Ortega versus Aljamain? Dude, what is with the Shanghai fights? These don't make sense. Why are the Chinese fighters? It's Pavlovich versus who was it?
Pavlovich and Cortez Acosta.
Yeah, Cortez Acosta, and then now Brian Ortega Aljamain's third. Like, what are we doing? Like, where's like Ming Zhang or Ming Ying Zhang? Where's fucking Yan Jiaonan? You know, Zhang Wei Li. Where are those fighters at? You know. Oh well. Anyway, me and
yeah,
Dios,
weird for Shanghai, but who knows? Can you take the reins for like 60 seconds? I had to piss real quick. I'll be right back.
You're good, man. You're good. So me and Dero split on that one. We will move on to the next one where we have Viviane Araujo taking on Tracy Cortez. Viviane Araujo is 13-6 overall. Out of her last 5 fights, she is 3 losses and 2 wins. A loss to Alexa Grasso 2 years, 8 months ago. A loss to Amanda Hebus 2 years, 3 months ago. A win over Jennifer Maya a year and 8 months ago. Lost to Natalia Silva, but that does not surprise anyone a year and 4 months ago. And then one that did kind of surprise a lot of us was her last fight 7 months ago was a win over Karine Silva. Tracy Cortez, on the other hand, is 11-2 overall. Out of her last 5 fights, 4 wins, 2 losses, a win over Stephanie Egger, win over Justine Kish, win over Melissa Gatto, win over Jasmine Jasdavicius, and then she did lose her last fight against Thug Rose Namajunas 11 months ago when she got her eyelash punched off. Anyway, Vivi is 38 years old, 5'4" and a 68-inch reach, while Tracy is 31, 5'5" and a 65-inch reach. I hear you, D-Rose. All right, you're back. So the last fight from Vivi was real surprising when she did beat Karine Silva, dude. That surprised all of us. I'm pretty sure everyone and their mom picked Karine Silva to win that fight. And you know I've been a big Vivi fan for a while. I just thought, she's 38 years old now, a little bit older, shown some like fucking weaknesses here and there. And Karine Silva is this young, as her fight name implies, this young killer. And she went out here and gave Karine Silva a vet lesson, dude. But I just can't shake the thought this week that fucking Tracy comes out here, uses the good old American wrestling, takes her down all 3 rounds, and just wins this fight via decision. Odds for the fight are Tracy Cortez -250 and Viviane Araujo is +205. D-Rose, what's Tracy Cortez via decision when her money line is -250 without looking?
Without looking, it is probably, you said she's -250?
-250.
Her by decision is probably what, -130?
-225.
Wow. Wow.
So you should probably just bet Tracy money line if you are on the Tracy Cortez via decision here this week.
Yeah. I mean, that literally nothing changed. Literally, I mean, technically yes, but nothing changed. That's crazy.
Yeah, but I'm on Tracy Cortez via decision. How about you, man?
Yeah, I think for me, I think that Vivi, she's shown that she's a potent fighter. She can go for the takedowns herself. She's got pretty good offensive wrestling. She's shown Karine Silva a little bit as well, that she was able to control her on the ground in that fight. But I think for Tracy Cortez, I think and I wouldn't say she's a more powerful striker, because Vivi does have good power, but I think that Tracy Cortez is the cleaner, more technical striker of the two. Better takedown defense. She's beaten girls like Jasmine Jasdavicius and stuff like that. She stuffed takedowns against Rose pretty well for the most part. She's a good fighter, man. So I think Tracy Cortez by decision is the way to go here. So yeah, give me Cortez by decision.
All right, me and D-Rose both on Tracy Cortez via decision. The main is Johnny Walker versus Ming Yang. Okay, that makes sense. Sugar Ray saying, don't forget the wife. It's disrespectful for D-Rose to ignore these ladies like that.
Nah,
yeah. And then Yandele saying, welcome back, D-Rose.
Nah, never. Nah, I ain't leaving. Like I said, give me 60 seconds. I'm going to be right there. Hey, good thing my bathroom's literally right there. So, yeah. Pop right now, pop right out, and we good to go.
Yeah, me and D-Rose both on Tracy Cortez via decision there. So moving on, we've got Hurricane Hyder Emil taking on Jose Delgado. Hurricane Hyder Emil is 11-0, undefeated, 35 years old, 5'9" and a 70-inch reach. Trains with Gilbert Melendez at the El Nino Training Center, while Jose Delgado is 9-1 overall, 27 years old, 5'11", and a 73-inch reach, trains at the training lab. Yeah, man, I am on this. How do I say this? I'm on the Hyder Emil, bandwagon, dude. Ever since I saw him on the Contender Series, I told you when he came in on his fucking first fight, like fighting fucking Sungwoo Choi, I was like, dude, this dude is a handful. Watch how he fights. And he comes out and just throws fucking caution to the wind, just throwing heat with every single punch. And then in his last fight against William Gomi, I'm pretty sure you picked William Gomi just because it was going to be a close fight. We know how good fucking William Gomi is, and Hyder Emil came out here and just pressured William Gomi all 3 rounds, dude. He has the cardio to go all 3, and it was kind of gassing there in the third. But when you're fighting how he fights, dude, I'm surprised he gets out of the first round, dude. So Hyder Emil, fun as shit fighter, but on the other hand is Jose Delgado, which is a clean young striker, lots of power as well, dude. This is one where I'm going to be taking the under in this fight, because right now the over under is at 2.5. The over is plus 130. The under is minus 166. So for under 2.5, I'll take that for sure. But Hyder Emil is the dog at plus 136. Jose Delgado is the favorite at minus 162. But I'm going Hyder Emil just because I don't think I've seen Jose Delgado cracked hard like I know that Hyder Emil is going to throw at him, man. So we'll see. I'm on the dog, Hyder Emil. Let's go for him to win this fight via second round knockout. Which way are you going here, man?
Yeah, I think, this is, again, we said it before, for us, this is the hardcore's main event. You got the people's main event, blah, blah, blah. This is the hardcore's main event right here. Like, for 2 young up and coming contenders that, I know Hyder Emil's 35, but the fights that he's had in the UFC so far, he made William Gomi have a fun fight. So if you're able to do that, I mean, you're really accomplishing something. Like, that's a feather in his cap alone. Like, if Hyder Emil does nothing else with his career, he made William Gomi get into a fun fight. So fun fight there. And then I can't remember the guy's name he knocked out when he first his
Sungwoo Choi.
Yeah, Sungwoo Choi, dude. That was, a 90,000 punch combo to just, blast his head off there at the beginning of the first round. So yeah, fun there, dude. And Jose Delgado, for me, I know you said you've been a Hyder guy. I've been a Jose Delgado guy since he's came in the UFC, dude. His footwork is just clean. He's in and out. But he sets up. He's good with setting up angles. He's good with kind of like hitting that, like kind of like bounce back, almost kind of in the style like a Sean O'Malley type. Like, he's good with hitting like a step back, kind of counter right as somebody stepping in. He can switch stances. Good kicks as well. Here's how I think the fight's going to go. I think the first 2 rounds is going to be a lot of footwork from Jose Delgado. I think he's going to be landing a lot of shots. And then I think in the third round, I think Hyder Emil is going to come out and push the gas. I think Hyder Emil is going to win the third round. I think he's going to lose the first 2. I think Jose Delgado wins by decision. I think Hyder Emil has clearly shown at this point he's too tough to be finished. But I do think that I think Jose Delgado is the cleaner guy of the 2. I think through the first 2 rounds, you'll see a lot of footwork. I think in that third round, you're going to see him gas a little bit, and Hyder Emil is going to empty the tank and go for it. I think it'll be just too little too late. Give me Jose Delgado wins the first 2 rounds and wins by decision.
You're brave taking both these overs, man. I'm on both those unders, like, for sure, man. All right. Does Tracy crack the top 10 in the next 5 years? Top 10 of what? Because she's already top 10 of something.
Yeah, that's. She might be top 5. For real.
All right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been good. Like, what are we talking about?
They're hating on the kid, D Rose. All right, moving on.
Kid, man. Hating on the
kid. We got the Joker, Jack Hermanson, taking on Hobo Cop, Gregory Rodriguez. Man, I've been flipping back and forth on this one, man. Here we go. we got the Joker, Jack Hermansson, 24-8 overall out of his last 5 fights. 3 wins, 2 losses, alternating win over Edmund Shabazian, lost the Sean Strickland, win over Chris Curtis, lost the Roman Dolidze, and then win over Joe Pyfer. So is a loss next? I don't know. We haven't seen him in over a year, dude. He's 37 years old, 6'1" and a 75-inch reach, while Hobo Cop is 16-6 overall out of his last 5 fights, also 3 wins and 2 losses, but lost over Bruno Ferreira, which put him on my no-bet list. A win over Dennis Talulin, a win over Brad Tavares, and a win over Christian Leroy Duncan, and then a loss to Jared Cannonier 4 months ago when I did pick Jared Cannonier to win that fight because Hobo Cop is on my no-bet list. He is 33 years old, but if you added about 10 years to that, I wouldn't think you're lying at all because he's about 43. He is 6'3" and a 75-inch reach. D-Rose, he's on my no-bet list. I just can't pick him. He's consistent. He was the first person on my no bet list, or was it? It was either Julian Marquez or it was Hobo Cop.
I believe it was Julian Marquez because he lost to Hobo Cop.
Because of the Hobo Cop fight.
Yeah. It was because of that fight. I remember exactly what it was because we were both high on Julian Marquez going into that fight, and he got smoked. So we were like, yeah, we're not betting him anymore. And then I think we decided, we were like, you know what, Gregory Rodriguez is probably going to crush Bruno Ferreira, right? And then he goes out there and gets blasted by Bruno Ferreira. And then you was like, yeah, I'm done with this guy.
I think it was a Nursultan Rizaboev. Like, do they fight too? Or no?
No.
Fucking Bruno Ferreira.
But after Gregory Rodriguez got smoked by Bruno Ferreira, I remember you were like, done with this guy.
I'm done.
Can't do it.
I think that's he's my Cody Brundage. Like, I can think he's going to win some fights here and there, but dude, I am not fucking risking it at all. I'm going to pick Jack Hermansson to win this fight, and if he can beat Joe Pyfer, I think he can beat Hobo Cop, man. So give me Jack Hermansson to basically do the same thing, just stick and move all 3 rounds, hopefully not get taken down and win via decision. Which way are you going here, man?
Funny enough here because we see
you going with the dog too. You going with the dog too?
Yeah, we see this fight the exact same. I think Gregory Rodriguez, big, powerful guy. He can land big shots, but he's not really good at setting it up. And Jack Hermansson, there's one thing that we've seen from him pretty consistently is that he's good at using footwork, dictating the pace, and kind of fighting at his pace, fighting at his range. He was able to do that with a guy like Chris Curtis. He did it with Joe Pyfer. So, guys like that, he's been able to kind of, take advantage of and get the dub there. So I think Gregory Rodriguez isn't going to be able to take Jack Hermansson down, in my opinion. And I think that, he can land a big shot, but he's not the cleanest boxer either. I think Jack, you'll see a bunch of leg kicks, jabs, leg work or footwork, and you'll see a Hermansson decision here.
All right. Me and D-Rose both on the dog. Plus 180 for Jack Hermansson. Hobo Cop is minus 218. Over under is 2.5 here. The over is minus 145. The under is plus 114. So me and D-Rose both on the dog here this week on Jack Hermansson. Antoine letting us know that the Nashville has 7 prelims and 10 main card start time. But yeah, me and D-Rose will be watching that one together. Yeah.
Yep. Well, hey, that'd be a good thing too because hey, I'm on vacation that week. It gives me more time during the day to kind of, be able to bust some stuff out before
take a little nap.
Coming home and watch the fights.
Yeah, take a little nap too. After the beach, come back, take a little nap, and then wake up, watch the fights.
Get some dinner in, and we can be rocking.
Hell yeah! Me and D-Rose both on the Joker, Jack Hermansson there. So moving on to the next one. We have Peyton Talbot taking on Jungle Boy Felipe Lima. Peyton Talbot, 9-1 overall, was undefeated to his last fight against Hani Barcelos, where he just got taught a vet lesson against a very good Brazilian national team wrestler. That's old, man. He's been doing this a long time. Peyton Talbot's 26 years old, 5'10", and a 70-inch reach, while Felipe Lima is 14-1 overall out of his last 5 fights, 5-0. Win over Miles Johns, win over Muhammad Naimov, and was the Octagon champion before that. He is 27 years old, 5'6", and a 68-inch reach. Odds for the fight blow my mind, D-Rose. How does Peyton Talbot go from being like a minus 2,000 favorite over Hani Barcelos to being a plus 154 underdog against Felipe Lima? That's minus 185 the favorite. Over under is 2.5 here. The over is minus 195. The under is plus 150. How does that happen, man?
Because I think the stock train blew up at Honey Barcelos, man. It really did.
All right. I
A
mean,
lot of people jumped off the bandwagon at that point.
yeah, but that being said, dude, it's like we've seen Peyton Talbot beat these other young contenders pretty fucking easily, dude. And I think maybe he's not going to go all out, but I think this time he's just going to stay composed, stay safe, and do everything to make sure that he gets back on a win. And I think that we see a Peyton Talbot via decision, but am I going to bet Peyton Talbot 3 or decision? Yes, I am. I like him as the dog like this week, man. He's going to have a big size advantage. He's going to have a reach advantage. We know he can stuff takedowns, and if this is on the feet, dude, I think he can land the more powerful shots. They might not be as clean, but I think they're going to do more damage, man. So pass it to you. I know you like Felipe Lima. Are you going to pick him this week?
Yeah, I mean, again, for me, I think the reason why the stock is blown for him is that, and as far as betting wise coming into this weekend is that I think Peyton Talbot, obviously he's shown a weakness in his last fight. And if I'm being honest, I don't know if there's really been that much of a gap between his last fight and to this one to say like how much more improvement has he made in his takedown defense to make that big leap, back to the contender that we thought he was going to be. Now, I'm not here to say that, he's going to get washed out at this point, but I think Felipe Lima, an older guy, he's technically just a year older, but I mean, honestly, I would say at this point, he's probably had a little bit of the better UFC competition than Peyton Talbot has. He's got a win over Muhammad Naimov, a weight class up, and a win against a guy like Miles Johns, where I think Peyton Talbot, 2 guys that he beat in the UFC, hasn't even had a win in the UFC, and Cameron Simon, a guy who's really been struggling as of late. A guy who I was pretty excited for coming up, but he's just been on the struggle train, let's be honest. And I think Felipe Lima just a bad matchup for Peyton Talbot coming in. And I don't think Peyton Talbot's really had the time in between his last fight to now to really make the necessary improvements. So I'm going to take Felipe Lima here. I think Felipe Lima is also the better striker than Honey Barcelos and just as good with the takedowns. And you can say just pretty dangerous with the submissions as well. I'm taking Felipe Lima here. I think Peyton Talbot is going to keep himself safe, but I think Felipe Lima might not be the most exciting fight, but I think you can definitely see a lot of takedowns and a lot of control for Felipe Lima in a decision win.
Fair enough, dude. We are split again for the 4th time. I'm on Peyton Talbot. D. Rose is on Felipe Lima. Yeah, here we go. Fun fight, dude. I'm gonna let you break this one down after I, give the stats and everything, because I know these are both your guys, man. You have consistently liked both these dudes for a long time, but it's
tough fight to pick.
Yeah, they're both the same age. They were scheduled to fight before. Does our picks here change? I don't think so, but Benny D is 22, 6-1. He's 36 years old, 5'10", and a 72-inch reach, while Renato Moicano's 26-1 overall, 36 years old, 5'11", and a 72-inch reach as well. So, D-Rose, pass it to you, man. What you think?
Yeah, I think it's a fun fight. Obviously, rebooking from their fight earlier in the year when Islam needed an opponent and Hanato ended up stepping in on not short notice, but obviously he ended up getting the call because Armin couldn't make the fight. So just a rebooking of that. So a guy that they have both these guys have prepared for each other for quite a little bit of time now. So I would say that they should be ready for whatever each opponent is going to bring. I think both guys have really good jiu-jitsu. I do think really the difference in what their styles are is that I think Beneil Dariush is a little bit better with the scrambles. He's good at if he's on his back, he can attack a leg. He's good at getting triangles and all that stuff. Where I think Renato Moicano with the takedowns, his top control, he's really good with. If he's got a guy down and he's on top of him, like guys really don't get up when he's on top of him. And I do think that Renato Moicano is a little bit more dangerous with his ground and pound as well. So I think that's kind of the differences with their ground game. And I think for the striking, I think Hanato is just a little bit more technical than Beneil Dariush, but Beneil Dariush, without a doubt, carries more power. That left hand, we've seen him put down a lot of dudes with it. He's hurt a lot of dudes. He's, finished a lot of guys with that left hand. So he's definitely got the power advantage. For me, I do think the technical striking aspect can really help out Renato Moicano, because I think as long as he can keep the fight on his feet, as long as he's not the one on his back, I do think that he can land the bigger shots against Moicano or against Dariush and just really add it up. So I think Renato Moicano ends up getting it done. I'm going to say second round knockout.
Okay.
I think it ends up kind of being like a little bit of a scrap. But I think, Beneil Dariush, we've seen him take, some big shots in his last couple fights and get put out. I think Renato Moicano can maybe land a big shot early in the second round after maybe what could be a little bit of a war in the first round and get Beneil out of there. So give me Renato Moicano. I'm going round 2 KO.
All right. Benny going to be like a minus 500. I don't know why everyone's so big on Moicano, because he can't afford to lose.
Exactly.
Who did you guys pick in the original meeting between Beneil and Islam back in 20? I would have for sure went Islam there. Yeah.
I was going Beneil. No.
Dude, for me, I think either way, I think this ends up being just a kickboxing fight, because both these dudes know that the other one has a pretty decent ground game. I think if it gets to the ground and Hanato's on the bottom, it's not good, because he will lay on the bottom and, just be content there. But if he's on top, dude, he has excellent top control, as you said, and he can do damage on top. Look what he did to BSD, so but the issue is I don't think it gets there. I think this is a 3 rounds kickboxing match, and we just see Renato being the more technical striker, maybe just touching Benny D, just looking a little bit prettier, and we see Renato Moicano win this fight via decision. That's my guess. Could I see him knocking out Benny D? I could, with maybe like a head kick, maybe like something like the Charles fight that happened not too long ago. When was that? I guess it was a little bit ago, 2 years ago. Dude, time flies. That's crazy.
It really does. We watched that fight together too.
Yeah. So me and you both on Renato Moicano there. Moving on, dude. Another one that I've been flipping back and forth on, man. It's just tough fight, man. We got Raw Dog, Brandon Royval, 17-7 overall. He is 32 years old, 5'9" and a 68-inch reach, while Josh Van is 14-2 overall out of his last 5 fights, 4 wins and 1 loss. He is 23 years old, 5'5" and a 65-inch reach. Dude, fought what, 2 weeks ago? Yeah, literally 2 weeks ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 9 months ago, dude. He just fights so much.
They said this is Josh Van's 6th fight within the last 365 days. That's insane.
Jesus Christ.
6 fights within the time is nuts.
Yeah. Beneil took time off, and you guys watch the Show Me the Money podcast. When I have time to, because Renato cracks me up. But I know he hasn't been on there a few weeks. It's just been, Gilbert Burns and Matty Betts on there. It's going crazy. Yeah.
Ready. He cannot afford to lose.
Can't afford to lose. Yeah, D-Rose, my thing for this fight is this is a big step up in competition. Yeah.
Yeah. Very much so.
And we know Brandon Royval will throw caution to the wind, man, and just throw everything at you. Knees, elbows, punches, kicks. He'll fucking jump on a neck. And we kind of saw Josh Van struggle a little bit with something like that in the Charles Johnson fight. Charles Johnson was just kind of a little bit more active that whole fight, and then just ends up fucking landing the kill shot in the third, man. So that's the fight that worries me about this whole situation, because I know Josh Van is more durable than Brandon Royval is, because we've just seen fucking Royval hurt and literally injured so many times. My thing is if this is a 3-round fight and we see any inkling of the older Josh Van about maybe a kind of hesitant to get started in the first round, I think Brandon Royval is just going to come out and just style on fucking Josh Van, dude. But on the other hand, dude, Josh Van has been steadily improving this whole time. So what I'm going to do, D-Rose, I'm going to pass it to you. I'm going to let you pick first. And if you pick Josh Van, I'm going to pick the opposite way. But if you pick Brandon Royval, then I'm going to pick Brandon Royval. So basically, I'm going to pick Brandon Royval here, but I'm going to let you pick.
So you told us your pick without telling us your pick. Man, I'll tell you, this is a tough fight for me. This has probably been the toughest one for me to pick because big fan of both guys. I've been a fan of Josh Van since he's came into the UFC.
Run and grab something to drink while you're breaking it down. I'll be right back.
Yeah, me and Matt actually watched his debut fight together on when he fought on I believe it was the Alex Pereira and Yuri fight card. Yeah, Josh Van fought on that card against Kevin Borjas. It looked really good and really has looked awesome since then, in the UFC. So, been super duper active. I think somebody for as young as him, that it's a good thing for him to be that active just because, really the only thing that's really going to help him improve is just getting against active competition, especially considering how young he is. And you can literally see the improvements in each fight, his head movement, his boxing, his distance management, finding the range, with his strikes, working combinations. You can even see his finishing instinct getting a little bit better as you go back into the last fight that he had with Bruno Silva. He ended up getting that third round finish, and he's starting to slowly add on to his tools each time. I think Brandon Royval is a guy who we've seen thrown into the fire, and that's where Brandon Royval can actually really thrive is within the chaos. One of my favorite sequences in MMA of all time is that fight between Royval and Kai France, where Brandon Royval ends up getting cracked by Kai with a big right hand. Kai goes to follow up, and then Brandon Royval just throws a spinning back elbow and drops him. It was the craziest 20 seconds in MMA that I've ever seen in my life. Like, I remember just jumping up and screaming because I'm like, dude, this fight is absolutely nuts. Brandon Royval thrives in the chaos, man. And my biggest thing is I think maybe if you give Josh Van a full fight camp, there could be a chance that he can get the dub. Turn around on 3 weeks' notice. Look, I know you just finished Bruno Silva, and it was an impressive finish. Going from Bruno Silva to Brandon Royval with no fight camp in between, I just don't see how that really works out for you because I do think Royval can pepper, a lot of volume, throwing knees up the middle, kicks. I think where Josh Van can maybe find a path of victory is maybe if he can get a takedown because we have seen Royval on his back be very content with throwing elbows and trying to throw up triangles because he's content with his, his submission game and everything. But even in the Tatsuro Taira fight, he did get up in certain moments as well. So, I think Brandon Royval is the more experienced guy. And again, Josh Van coming in on 2 weeks' notice. If you give me a full fight camp, Josh Van, I'm probably going to go Josh Van. 2 weeks' notice, even though he just fought, but against a guy like Royval, he's so difficult to prepare for. Give me Royval by decision here.
All right, man. That's kind of surprising, to be honest. I really expect you to go Josh Van there, but
yeah, I know I'm a Josh Van fan, but hey, when you sent me that a couple weeks ago, did I not tell you it was a bad matchup from the start? I kind of didn't. I didn't like that matchup for Josh Van because, again, I am a fan, but I do think it's a bad matchup, man. It really is.
Yeah. Can Royval beat Alexandre in a third fight? I don't think anyone's beating Pantoja at 25. Man, I really don't. No. And that'll lead us into this next fight. And D Rose not having a certain shirt on, like what is in the thumbnail this week, kind of tells me that what I need to know about this fight here, man. It lets me know that you might be a fan of him, but you're probably not picking him this week to win. And it is the co-main event between Alexandre versus Kai France. Number 2, the Cannibal, Alexandre Pantoja, 29-5, while Kai Don't Blink France is 25-11. The champion, Alexandre Pantoja, out of his last 5 fights, obviously 5-0, submitted Kai Asakura, decision over Steve Erceg, decision over Brandon Royval, split decision win over Brandon Moreno to win the championship, and then submitted Alex Perez 2 years ago. He is 35 years old, 5'5", and a 68-inch reach. While don't blink, Kai Kara France, 25-11, last 5 fights, 3 wins, 2 losses, knocked out Cody Garbrandt, beat Askar Askarov via decision, lost to Brandon Moreno, lost to Amir Albazi in a close split decision fight, and then knocked out Steve Erceg in round 1 10 months ago.
He's 32 years old. Albazi fight. He didn't lose that fight. I'll just tell you right now, he didn't lose that fight. But
he's 32 years old, 5'4", and a 69-inch reach, dude. And what's going to be weird, dude, is at the face-off when I see that Pantoja is going to be the bigger guy of the two here, and that is never true, dude. Pantoja is always the smallest guy, and I call him the 125-pound Khamzat Chimaev. The only difference between the two is we haven't really seen what happens after Khamzat gets tired because, the fight just kind of ends. He hasn't had to go 5 yet. But with Pantoja, dude, he just kind of fights through it. His arms will be down by his side, just fucking winging shit still, dude. Giving every ounce of energy he has, dude. In every strike he throws, he's trying to take your head off. I love me some Alexandre Pantoja, dude. How could you not be a fan of just the way that he fights, dude? An absolute, maybe a cannibal, as his fight name implies. He's going to go out there and try to eat you. So with that being said, dude, this is a rematch. They have fought on the Ultimate Fighter, and Pantoja did win via decision. This is 5 rounds. I think Kai's going to come in shape, ready to go, but I don't really think he has the tools to beat Pantoja. Definitely not early. And by the time it gets late, I just think both fighters are going to be too tired to hurt each other enough to get them out of there, which leaves me to Pantoja getting takedowns, back control, dude. I know Kai has a solid takedown defense, but even though you say that he fucking won that fight, dude, the way Amir Albazi was able to just take him down, dude, and even the Askar Askarov fight, dude, it's like I can just he can get taken down and he kind of gives up his back, man. If Pantoja gets your back, that's the round, if not the fight, man. So I'm gonna go Pantoja via decision. Odds for the fight though are currently Pantoja minus 238, Kai Kara France is plus 195, over unders 3.5. The over is minus 166, the under plus 130. I'm on Pantoja via decision. How about you, man?
Yeah, it's a tough fight because, like you said, Alexander Pantoja, dude's an absolute savage. He's beaten, pretty much everybody's favorite fighter at 125. Whether it be Royval, Moreno, Kopp, Kai Kara France, even they've only fought on the Ultimate Fighter, and they haven't fought in the UFC actually, but the Ultimate Fighter, he's beaten pretty much the who's who at 125, and now he's basically doing another victory lap because he's basically fighting guys that he's fought already. Kai Kara France, again, for me, I thought he won the Amir Albazi fight. He outlanded Albazi by I can't even tell you how many strikes. He might have doubled the output of Albazi. He wasn't even really getting taken down that much, and when he did, he was getting right back up to his feet. He just was getting controlled against the fence a little bit in that fight, and I think that's what ended up losing it for him. But I still don't understand how he lost that fight. But anyway, I had a pretty decent bet on that fight, so yeah, I was pretty salty after the fact that Kai Kara France lost that fight. So that's why I carry a little bit of resentment for that fight. But anyway, Kai Kara France, obviously he's shown that Steve Erceg fight. He's got power in his hands. He could put anybody out at any given moment. Super explosive. Pantoja he's got a chin, man. The dude, he's hard to crack. And even you can hurt him, but as you said, even when he's in the point, third round, he's tired, arms are down. You think he's going to get caught, and then all of a sudden he's just blitzing forward with combinations, like just throwing 4 or 5 punches, even dropping people at certain points in time. I think he dropped Moreno later on in the fight after being tired as well. So he's just a force to be reckoned with. But you thought I was going to leave my dog out, man. You thought I was going to leave my dog out like that. Let's go, cockhammer friends. He's going to get the job done. You thought I was going to leave the shirt off, bro. No way. We brought it, and we ready for that action. Cockhammer friends, 3rd round knockout, baby. It's because I'm Maori, bro. It's because I'm Maori. He's going to get it done. Let's go 3rd round KO, cockhammer friends. Let's go, baby.
All right. Me and D-Rose split on that one. I'm on Pantoja. D-Rose is on Kai. Don't blink, Car France. So, yeah. Main event time. If I want to be completely honest, I was like, he's probably got it on under that shirt. I was like, he's probably got it on under that shirt. That was just my guess, and I was right. Yeah, but so I guess that's why I wasn't too surprised. Like, oh, but anyway,
let's go.
Main event time. We've got Ilya, the Matador Topuria, taking on Charles Du Bronx Oliveira. Ilya Topuria 16-0, undefeated. Former featherweight champion, moving up to fight Charles Oliveira at light heavyweight for the vacant light heavyweight championship. He is 28 years old, 5'7", and a 69-inch reach, while Du Bronx, Charles Oliveira, 35-10 overall, alternating wins and losses. So does it mean he's going to lose this next one? I don't know. He is 35 years old, 5'10", and a 74-inch reach. D Rose. Man, when this fight first got announced, I'm pretty sure me and you were both like, yeah, Ilya is probably just gonna knock him out. Yeah, that's what I immediately thought, man. But the more this fight has gotten closer, man, the more research I've done, the more I've looked into the fighters' styles, because we know styles make fights, man. We know that happens. And when I look at the only fight that was relatively close to this one, it was the Jai Herbert fight. Yeah. Who else has pressured Ilya that has the range and distance that'll throw kicks like that? Because, Max is taller, but Max ain't really, throwing, head kicks and shit. Volk's not a big guy, and fucking Ilya was able to pressure both of them back the whole time. There's not been one guy that has put pressure on Ilya outside of Jai Herbert. And when that happened, Jai Herbert head kicked Ilya and fucking dropped him. Yeah, he got knocked out a few seconds later, but it still happened, dude. If we're comparing skills between Jai Herbert and Ilya Topuria, it's not even close. But if we're also comparing skills between Jai Herbert and Charles Oliveira, that's also not even close. So I know I originally said Ilya Topuria probably via knockout. But, dude, something tells me that this fight is... let me put it this way. Right now, the championship is vacant. But the champion has a name.
My label,
His name
is for always supporting me. And of course, God. Without God, none of this would be possible.
Coming from the fellas. I think we see Charles Oliveira, second round head kick, knocks out Ilya Topuria flat cold. The champion has a name, Charles Du Bronx Oliveira, at 155 pounds. The plans are shot. Shit on for everyone. Ilya moved up to light heavyweight for no damn reason now. Islam has moved up to 170. A little preview. I'm picking Jack to beat Islam. Everyone's plans are just shit on now. And, it's just what happens because you can't plan shit in MMA. Charles Du Bronx for the win. How about you, D-Rose?
Wow, he did it. He did it.
I
And
did it.
shout out to Ice Spice for making that.
Shout
edit
out Ice
possible.
Spice. Shout
Yeah,
out the
shout out
guy.
Ice Spice for making that edit possible, man. But yeah, I do. To be completely honest, I have been the same exact way this week that you have been. I've been like, man, Charles Oliveira, he's being so doubted. Like Ilia Topuria, great power, good boxing. He obviously works his way inside. He gets the fight to his range, even when he's fighting guys who are bigger or who might have the reach advantage. So he does a good job of doing that. Now moving up a weight class, you're fighting against a lot bigger guys. How well are you going to be able to do that? I think for Charles Oliveira, his big thing, he does get hit a little bit. So that is the one thing that worries me about Charles going into the fight. He gets hit a little bit, and I think his big thing is, even if you go back in that Volkanovski and Ilia Topuria fight, like obviously Volk got knocked out in the second round, so it doesn't matter. But Volk was snapping his jab against Ilia Topuria like multiple times, like slamming it on Ilia Topuria's face, to the point where you go back to the end of that fight and Ilia Topuria's nose is just leaking blood just because he kept getting jabbed to the nose and he was getting leg kicked. Charles Oliveira does have good leg kicks and good, teep kicks to the body. He has a jab, but it's not really the most effective weapon that he has. And I think that's something that you can use to kind of keep Topuria at range. I think if he's not able to keep Topuria at range, I do think that Topuria ends up making his way inside and landing the kill shot. And we've seen Charles Oliveira hurt on multiple occasions. Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler. Now, Michael Chandler went down to the ground with him, but, we both criticized Poirier and Gaethje for why not follow him to the ground? He's hurt. Go for the finish. I think Topuria is a guy who's going to be confident enough in his grappling to where he ends up hurting Charles Oliveira. He might do similar to what he did to kind of like Ryan Hall. Be careful with going to the ground, but also not being scared to engage in those situations and go for the kill. So I do think Topuria ends up getting it done, man. I think by second round KO. Give me Ilia Topuria here to get the job done and become the new 155-pound champ.
How cool would it be if Charles won that, right?
It definitely would be. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say my mind says Ilia, my heart says Charles. Exactly how I feel, man. I mean, that's exactly how I feel. I want both to win, but I'm a fan of both guys. I would love to see Charles win, but I also wouldn't be mad about Topuria winning either, just because he is a pretty exciting fighter and does seem to deliver highlight reels whenever he does fight.
Yeah, man, for sure. It's going to be a hell of a fight card. I do have bets on both fighters now. I do have bet on Ilia via knockout, I'm sure, in a fucking big-ass parlay. But I think I don't have – I haven't bet much this week yet because for some reason they are just taking forever to open up these fucking props this week. So it's like I can't bet fucking Jacoby Smith at minus 2,000. You got to give me some kind of prop this week. So with that being said, we'll move on to what will be the closing portion of the show, the fisting of the week. D-Rose let y'all know earlier, and it's going to be Jacoby Smith to fist Nico Price. But I also want to throw out there as well, I don't hate the Jonata Janice to fish. What's his name? Fucking Goonie, fucking Goozy.
Hines, Alvin Hines.
Yeah, I don't hate that one either. I don't hate that one like either. So right now, Jacoby Smith.
Dude, Jacoby Smith is minus 3,000. You can get him by KO TKO. It's still minus 250.
Jacoby Smith by finish is minus 750.
Dude, that is absolutely disgusting. Disgusting. Dude, minus 3,000 is absolutely crazy. That might be the biggest favorite in UFC history. Like, no bullshit.
Minus 2,100 right now.
Dude, on FanDuel, he's minus 3,000. Like, I'm literally looking at FanDuel right now. He is minus 3,000. Nico Price is plus 1,000. That might be the biggest favorite in UFC history. Like, no bullshit. If it closes at the end of the week like that, like, even bigger favorites than what Bo Nickel was early in his career. That's insane.
So, do we have an underdog this week? Is it Roy Val or Jack Hermanson? What do you think?
Roy Val.
Royval underdog of the week. Our fisting of the week is for, Jacoby Smith to fist Nico Price. Going to finish him. Going to get him out of there, but you probably shouldn't bet it because you get no value on it.
No, I'm not betting anything on that fight because there's nothing.
No.
There's literally nothing you can get off of that. That's a good.
No. So we have different fights this week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different fights. The Rose, Ewert versus McVee. Are we just gonna throw that one off?
Yeah, let's go ahead and throw that off.
All right. Which we got to throw 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, so that's 5 left. Which is T-Rex versus Slavaklaus, Hyder Emil versus Jose Delgado, Peyton Talbot versus Felipe Lima, Pantoja versus Kai Car France, and Du Bronx, Charles Oliveira versus Ilia Topuria. Dude, what is that? The entire main card? Just the main card?
That's pretty much. I honestly think you're right.
It's
besides
not
Moicano.
Moicano, and it's fucking not Moicano and fucking Benny D.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy.
Just the entire main card is our different picks. So, with that being said, it'll be best 3 of 5, unless one of us get all 5 right, and that's a clean sweep, and that is 3 beans next. Not next week, D Rose, because there's no fights next week. So, we're gonna do do you want to do a recap, or do you want to just stream the fights live Saturday?
We can do a stream, and we can maybe even do it. If I lose, I'll just do it Saturday. Just get it over with. Screw it.
Like the Sunday fucking recap.
Yeah, we can do something like that.
All right, cool. Yeah. All right. So, with that being said, that's our 5 different picks for the week. We have given you all of our picks for every fight on the card. We give you our news, our fisting of the week. D Rose ate some beans. We gave you our UFC Baku recap. Truly hope all of y'all enjoyed the podcast tonight. If y'all did, please hit that thumbs up button for your boys, and we would greatly appreciate that. Antoine wants to know, is a win over Ilya Make Charles the greatest lightweight of all time?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
Before we dip, how has life been treating y'all? Just hot, Antoine. I'm going to be honest. Just real hot.
Yeah, hot. And I have been counting down to my vacation, man. I ain't gonna lie. I've been counting down by like the seconds just so I can just get a break. Work just always, duty always calls there, and I just can't wait to get away for a little bit. And the bear is still alive, but we've been hiding our trash, so he hasn't been in our yard since the last time he came by. So thank goodness.
That's good. That's good. All right. So, we will not be here next week for the podcast, but we will return in 2 weeks live in studio, right? Right, D Rose, we're going to do one live in studio after you get here on the Wednesday. You're just going to come over and we'll do a live studio podcast in 2 weeks. Me and D Rose will both be here. Doing the podcast, and then we'll watch the fights at his Airbnb on next Sunday or that Saturday for Lewis versus, was it Teixeira? Somebody like that.
Yeah, Halish and Teixeira, whatever.
Yeah, it's thunderstorming Atlanta. I'm going to have a great sleep. That's what's up. Can't wait for the live stream on Saturday. Hell yeah. So me and D-Rose, we'll see you guys Friday for Change of Cheddar. Yeah?
Yes, sir. We'll be here Friday.
Yeah, Friday for Change of Cheddar. Giving you all of our, last minute bets, picks, and all that. And then we'll see you guys before the fights on Saturday. Tequila or whiskey on Saturday. I cannot drink tequila. If I smell that, I might throw up, dude. It's like I've never been the guy to tequila. I can't do it, dude. It's like it gets down to like right here, and then it won't go down any farther, and then it just shoots back up. So I'm for sure more of a whiskey drinker than I am tequila, dude.
Yeah, neither really too much, but I'd prefer whiskey as well.
All right, fucking D-Rose is drinking his fucking Fantas. Like, this is the hardest stuff I got.
Nah, I'm drinking my Gatorade Zeros. That's what I got.
The fucking twisted teas.
Yeah.
Better never tell your fiance, dude. They're not drinkers, believe it or not, man. Like if anything, I see them have some like Modelo's, Coronas. I haven't ever seen them drink like alcohol. D-Rose a whiskey man. I don't think he's a whiskey man, Antoine. I think that's just if he had to choose between the two.
Yeah, gun to my head. I'm not actively going out searching for like whiskey and stuff like that. But gun to my head between the two. Whiskey's a little bit of a smoother than tequila is.
You want to know probably the worst tasting fucking whiskey ever is this fucking proper 12, dude. That shit's look. This is how much I've fucking drank of it. Like the first time I ever had this, dude, I fucking woke up like the next day, took a dump, and my asshole was fucking bleeding, and I blame that for it. So I haven't drank it since. I don't know if that's why it happened or not, but I haven't drank. That's how much I drank like the first night, and then I haven't drank anything since.
You're like, it adds up though.
Yeah. All right.
You're like, my asshole was not bleeding before that.
Yeah, right. Oh man, have you ever thrown up from drinking? I mean, I don't know who hasn't thrown up from drinking, Antoine.
Yeah, no, I did back in the day. I only
Yeah.
did once. I drank like some absinthe. I don't know if you remember that stuff, but yeah, I had a buddy of mine who ended up having like a bottle like imported from Missouri or something like that, and it was yeah, it was one of the worst nights where I was like, yeah, that was kind of when I was like, hey, this drinking thing, I don't know if I really like it too much.
Yeah, I mean, all right. Well, that's going to be all from us here this time. My name is Matt D. Rose on that side of the screen. Once again, we're here like 2 hours and 20 minutes this week. Another long one, but we truly hope you appreciated the podcast and you enjoyed it. And if you did, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're not already over here on the Golden Octagon. Me and D. Rose catch you guys Friday for Changing Cheddar, Saturday for the fight live stream. Anything else before we get out of here, man?
Nah, man, we are good to go.
All right. With that being said, me and D. Rose will catch you guys Friday for Changing Cheddar. Remember, at the end of the day, it's a fist fight and anything can happen. See you guys later. Peace. You froze.